Good evening, everyone. This is the meeting of the Rutland Town Select Board. Today is March 25th. We're starting at 6 o'clock with a full board: Kurt Hathaway, Joe Denardo, Mary Ashcroft, Matt Getty, and Sharon Russell. And let us begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And then, whilst you're still standing, we usually do solemn things, but let's do a fun thing. Joe Denardo's birthday is tomorrow.
Quiet on your chair.
Happy birthday
What's
to
that?
you. Happy birthday to you.
Get away with it.
Happy birthday, dear Joey. Happy birthday. Yay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Enough of this.
So how old are we now?
Yeah.
17.
He's my age now.
Did I catch you
I think so.
for a little while?
Yeah.
54. Yeah. 71.
71. It's good age. Okay.
I'm the senior here.
Happy birthday, Grandpapa.
Okay. Let's do the top of the agenda stuff. March 11th, Select Board minutes. If you could turn to that page, please. Is there a motion? Motion's made. Is there a second?
Second.
And seconded. Discussion, additions, corrections, deletions. If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? Okay, it's coming that way. Approval of orders.
Move to approve.
Motion has been made to approve the orders which are here. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any discussion, additions, deletions? If not, all in favor of approving the orders, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Update from, are there any board member announcements? Really, really quiet group tonight. Update from the Select Board Chair. Couple of things. I know that we have at least one person interested in filling one of our volunteer positions in the town, and I'm delighted. I would ask, however, that we not fill any position until after the circle comes out, because I put a request in there and had a brief list of things that were available. So I'd like people to apply before we actually start appointing. So that's just a request. If you feel otherwise, you can vote against me. All right. There is on your desk an article, I think Bill copied it, on from DCF about the homeless housing. Did I send that to you? I did. That's okay. It just barely came in.
Okay.
It was
They just sent just very.
just barely. As of April 1st, the voucher system is over for this cadre of people. So people will be homeless and will not be housed. And Rutland area the Rutland DCF office has the largest, I think it was 95 families, something like 130 adults and 60 something children who will no longer have their vouchers as of April 1st. So just be aware. And I guess our police department's probably aware of that. Yeah. Okay. There is a regional select board meetup. I went to the last one. You can see I'm over by the Christmas tree in the back. Okay. Just so you know, I was there. This was very good. I enjoyed it. We got to exchange ideas and complaints, and I picked up a lot of information, and a lot of people who are in our position went to it. The food was pretty good too. So I would encourage you, the next meeting is April 9th, 2025 at 5:30 over at Castleton at the Rec Department. Please do, so you do have to sign up in advance, but there's no fee for it, but please do consider going because
What's the time, Mary?
5:30 30.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do take a look at that because it's well worth doing. This is where we brought up Joe's reminder that we need a regional dispatch center. Proctor, we need a regional dispatch center. Okay. Senior luncheon is Thursday. Sharon Russell is cooking her meatballs and sauce. She's already cooked it. I'm doing cookies. And so please do come. It's at Center Rutland. It's at 11:30, I believe, on Thursday. Even if you don't consider yourself a senior and you're a town official, you should probably consider coming to it. It's a good bunch of people. Okay, that's all I have. And any questions from the floor or public comments before we get into our agenda? Anyone in the back row? Yes, sir.
Yes, I have a question regarding the short-term rental.
Could you identify yourself,
My name's
please?
Demetrio-
Come on up.
My name is Demetrio Gagnon. I
Mhm.
reside at 47 Lola Drive. I had made some comments previously about this when I was going through,
Uh-huh.
and it's unfolding as I anticipated. It's a money grab. Now, in the ordinance, if you rent for 14 days or less, that's not a short-term rental, am I correct?
I don't have it in front of me. I
All right,
can't
well,
tell you
I
off
do.
the
So
top
it's
of my
More than
head.
14
Okay.
days, but less than 30 consecutive days. Now, I just got an ordinance. Actually, I don't have, right. Not sure what I'm in violation of. My best guess,
I did try calling you several times today, got no answer and the voicemail's full.
which phone did it go to? I was, I don't
Phone
know,
number you gave me.
732-778-5005.
Yeah.
Didn't get a voicemail. If you left one, I would.
Your voicemail was full. I
Okay,
wasn't able to.
all right,
So I did try calling several times so we could talk about it.
okay.
Happy to do that if you'd like to.
Yeah. So my question is, how do you rent it for less than 14? I guess, what's the reason I got the ordinance violation? Just probably start there.
Cause I hadn't heard back. It is advertised. And that's part of it. So it's very difficult to determine how many days you're gonna rent it this part of the year. But like I said, it'd be much easier to talk about this. But it's probably a longer conversation for you and I. So I'd be happy to talk to you about it.
Okay, because I mean, my thing is, if I haven't rented it yet, how am I getting a violation? And if I put it up,
Cause it's advertised.
it's advertised, but then, so I get up to 14 days to advertise it and or have it rented, right?
Right. So, yes, I'm happy to talk to you about it. I really.
All right,
really
yeah, I
am.
mean, it's just unfortunate that this is the reason I have to come here is to discuss.
I
the short-term rental.
I did try, no, I understand. I did try calling you like several times. It just went right to voicemail, said it was full.
All right, I mean, if you have time, I don't know, you're probably not free until after this is done, so.
Correct.
Mr. Gagnon, you're welcome to come back or to call any one of us or send an email to the select board if after you talk with Bill, you still have questions. So,
All right.
you're not,
Is this adjourned?
that's a really good question.
7:30, I don't know, if I decide if I stay around to the end, that's fine.
We do have,
We wish it was
we have been
7:30.
going to about 8:30 or 9, so just be forewarned.
Depends
Yeah,
on the
you're welcome to stay, but no
All right, well,
guarantees.
Look at some of the other stuff on the agenda and see if anything's
Okay.
applicable. But yeah, I mean, I'm already here, I'm on stay.
Okay, very good. Okay, any other questions from the floor or public comments?
Yeah, I think I'm not on the agenda, I don't
I
believe.
just put you on. So Judy Fraser, come on up. Judy is the town manager of the town of Proctor, one of our neighbors, and she
Yes.
wants to talk with us about.
So we're doing a tri-town bike path with West Rutland, Proctor and Pittsford. And the Rutland Regional Planning Commission asked us to come and speak to you because a leg of it is coming in through Rutland Town. So it's not really like we need your approval because it's just on the road, the main road that everybody uses. But we want you to be aware of it. And if you do have any input or insight, or if it does get altered somehow, we had a design firm called Stantec.
Oh, yeah, we work with
And-
Stantec.
Oh,
Yeah.
they're great. They're
Yeah.
actually awesome. So, so the bike path right now, we came up with 3 different routes. And then by the time we were done, it was just the town managers and Rutland Regional Planning and Stantec that did this. And then we did bring in like about 4 people from the town that had some, biking experience, things like that. And we came up with a 4th option. And the 4th option looks like the one we want to do the most. It's the easiest, it's off-road as much as possible. And where it would impact Rutland Town is it's on the rail trail until it gets to Esther Capen's house. I don't know if anybody knows Esther Capen. She lives on the West Proctor Road.
Yeah.
So right past her house, you'd come up onto the road in West Street and West Proctor Road, right before the castle. And
Oh,
then,
okay.
and then you just make it down to Center Rutland and then head to West Rutland. So that's the leg of it that we wanted to bring to you, just to make you aware of it.
Their
Okay.
letter with the map is in your packet.
Yeah, I did see it and it wasn't a very good outline.
Yeah, it's
Hi-
mostly online, the maps
Yeah.
are, that's easier to navigate. but-
Highway Commissioner, anything that we should be aware of or keep an eye on for this?
Not that I know of, but I just heard about it like 4 seconds ago.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So let us know if we can help. And
Okay.
Tri-Town, not Quadra Town as it goes through. Okay.
That
You could put like a little Lego, of the town down there. but-
experiences that road traffic is at times pretty bad. And in very high rates of speed, well above the speed limit.
Mhm.
So just,
Right.
you know, and it's, I think that's a standard width road. It's not, there's no shoulders, there's no thing. So
Yeah,
it may only be like a half, 3/4 of a mile, but it's a really,
yeah. There are a lot of bikers on that road anyway, but if we kept off the road, it gets too wet and swampy as you get towards Center Rutland. It's just, it's not feasible. So, but.
that would be the biggest concern.
What's your
But-
timeline?
Once we go back, we're actually meeting with some landowners now in the three towns that would need a easement. If we go a different route, like, we were talking about going up over West Rock Mountain, which would totally eliminate West Proctor Road.
Mhm.
But once we meet with them, which is gonna be the end of this month, then we're all gonna meet together again and kind of finalize the design. And then, so it's still gonna be through like the summer. Then we'd have to if we do come up with a design, we get approval because we're going back out to the towns. Then once we do that, then we'll see what we'd have to do for funding to go forward to implement it. So,
Okay. Yep.
Sorry.
No, I was gonna say Mike Rose, our rec director, and he has some experience working on bike trails. So Yeah.
Awesome. So
feel free to,
Put me in loop if you want.
yeah, absolutely.
Love to add to it.
Yeah.
Where, you know, I'm asking. I'm an engineer, so this is like within my wheelhouse. So where they're putting the bike path, is it coming from Route 7 where they just installed a new traffic pattern and continuing that up? Or is it just going from, I guess, West Road down to Business?
it's not gonna touch Route 7.
Okay, so it's not going up towards where, where 3 and the mobile are. So you're not carrying it into there. It's-
No, it's
you're-
going actually from like what Pittsford out back towards Florence, kind of coming in through the Florence up on the rail bed by Beaver Pond,
Okay,
and then going through Proctor, cutting through West Street until we get to another street, and then we're getting on the rail trail again, all the way past the Capons,
okay.
and then on the West Proctor
So
Road.
you're trying to keep it either on the road and try to avoid doing it off-road?
We're trying to do it off-road as much as possible.
Okay,
Yeah, so the only stretch really on the road is that little bit from in the neighborhood in Proctor,
yeah.
and then from like before the castle to Route 4,
mhm.
and then from Route 4 to West Rutland, and then we're going up through like Marble Street in that area.
So it's just a very short part that is difficult.
Right, yeah.
Okay, no, I just noticed that other towns were not installing center line striping as a way to reduce speeds.
Okay.
So they're putting in
Oh,
the shoulder and then not putting the center line, so it shortens the lane. So that way it's gonna force drivers to slow down. It's a form of traffic control.
okay.
Traffic measures that are
Traffic
they're
calming.
being implemented in other. I know Craftsbury's got one for their downtown village. They've asked us not to stripe the center line in there as a way to,
Okay.
force drivers to slow down.
Okay.
So just a thought.
Yeah, no, it's good to know.
Okay, Matt.
So to Joe's point, I guess I'm wondering if you anticipate, and maybe it's too early to know, but whether you'd be asking us to do anything with the road as far as like marking a trail. 'Cause
No.
it just.
No, we're not marking any trail that's on the road.
I
It's
could just see
it's
people
gonna be-
saying, well, this is the bike trail, and I get there and there's no place for me to bike and it's too trafficy and they're too fast, and they come complain to us.
There might need to be some informational signs in the town along there or in the Proctor side that caution people to bike traffic.
Right,
If the trail comes to fruition,
right.
if you're, you know,
The thing, like I
Yeah.
said, that road is used so heavily with bikes. I mean, there's massive bikers on that road
right.
already, no signs. It's just known.
But
They
once
bike.
you introduce this and you make it a public path with, advertising and
Right.
stuff behind it.
Yeah.
There's a certain amount of, I think, information you might have to just put out there
Yeah.
to the motoring public.
Okay. Then we might.
It
ask
would just
you to
be
buy a
something,
sign.
a sign somewhere that, a lot of these, like I say, I frequent that road a lot. and
Right.
Traffic there is,
Oh, I know.
Which to me means some caution to the biking public as well. I
Yeah.
mean, I bike sometimes myself, but there are some fools out there on
Oh,
bikes
yeah.
too. I
Yeah,
mean, they
yeah.
should be aware, okay, this is a busy road. You need to,
Right, yeah,
Act
because they own
accordingly.
the road a lot of times on the West Proctor Road. They'll ride double laned and in
Mhm.
front of you and stuff.
I
They
mean,
don't
North
care.
Grove Street where I live, there's a lot of bike traffic on Grove Street, a lot of pedestrian traffic.
Yeah,
And a tremendous lot of vehicle traffic. And there are some really hair-raising events that occur.
oh, yeah, definitely.
So I just, once you make this an official trail.
And we'll
that
keep you guys
bike
in the loop too as we get closer to it. to
Yes,
make sure,
please.
You know, so.
Any other questions from the select board? Okay, thanks
right.
for coming in, Judy.
You're very
Good to see
welcome.
you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Dannielle, would you like to come on up? This is action item, meet with Dannielle Mumma, and Dannielle is our representative to the town Otter Creek Communication District. So, and we asked her to come in and because we appointed you about a year ago.
Believe so, yeah, and
Yeah.
and I'm gonna request that you find someone else.
Okay.
I'd like to stay on until you do that, because I don't want to bail on them, so in case they need a quorum, but
Okay,
it's just not meshing with my schedule currently.
gotcha. Okay.
I can tell you, they're all built out, the service is great,
Okay.
and, I still be willing to help anybody get service with Fidium, even though CCI doesn't have a great name.
Okay. So thank you for your service. So all of the everything is in place now so that people have
Correct.
cell service all over.
Not cell service.
Okay.
Fiber to the home.
Fiber, okay, thank you.
So that's a huge difference.
Thank
when-
you.
when you're
Please correct me and
when you're discussing copper versus fiber and versus coax. Fiber, having glass directly to your house maintains service up and down.
how do we know what we have coming to our house?
You would probably have to get a, so who do you currently have? Do you know?
How
How big's your bill?
big is my bill? It's not very big.
It's not very big,
No.
okay?
Yeah.
Are you just internet only?
Cable.
I have video.
Yeah.
You have Fidium, I do too.
Okay.
It's excellent, right?
Okay.
You have 1 gig service then?
I have what?
1 gig?
I don't know.
So
She never answers my emails. So how would we know?
they're still making it there, right? So yeah, I mean, it's just that fiber to the home is a top-notch technology for our area. Obviously it came about mostly because of what EC Fiber had started in the state in 2015. And because of the COVID, everybody getting sent home, the need for high-speed internet for people to be able to do their work at home was imperative. And they have met their match and done what they're supposed to do.
Good, excellent. Do we need this district anymore?
I think it's important to have somebody continue because I believe the VCBB has written it into the grant process that they continue to meet for the next 10 years.
Okay. All right. Is it federally funded or state or a combination?
I believe it's a combination, but with the Trump administration right now, I
Yeah.
don't know what's going to happen with that. But essentially it's all built out. So they're only, they just have to keep up with the financials and do certain reporting for the VCBB.
Okay. Questions? All right, spread the word. You might know other folks who might be
I have
interested.
been
in-
trying
Okay,
for
thank
other
you.
towns. I mean, Sudbury, West Rutland, Clarendon, and nobody wants to do it. So,
Well, thank you for doing it for us.
yeah, and just if you could post it, I would greatly appreciate it. It's just not matching
I
with
think
my
we
job.
have. Yeah, we do. We have a list of openings that are posted, so we'll make sure. We did want to check with you first, so.
Yeah, no,
good to
that's
know.
fine. And I'll still continue to do it. I believe the meetings are only quarterly right now, so
Okay.
that makes it a little easier, but I don't get out of work until 4:30 and the meetings are 5. So it's just a little difficult and my job is changing. So I don't know if I'll be in the area for much longer.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay.
Well, thank you again. We
Absolutely.
appreciate it.
And if anybody has any questions, just let me know.
Okay, we will. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Anybody on the Zoom screen who is not otherwise on the agenda who would like to talk to us? Nope, doesn't look it, and nobody else in the room. Okay, let's go through the agenda. Dave Sears, Town Road Commissioner. Good evening.
Evening, everybody. Not really a whole lot going on right now. We're kind of in between stuff. We've been doing some vehicle maintenance, changing some oil, getting some stuff ready for spring, chasing mailboxes. Yay. We put the Cedar Avenue sign back up. They got run over at some point in the winter. I'm not sure, when Gardner called me and told me that the sign was wadded up, so we got that fixed. Mike Rowe's mowers are all ready to go. He's salivating as we speak.
Smell it? You could smell the grass.
Yeah.
It was buried under snow this morning and
Yeah.
yesterday, so
Yeah.
I was thinking of you
Take
first
your
thing.
word for it, yeah.
Held it last weekend, all excited.
And speaking of snow, because of that little dust up we had yesterday, the contractors got one more call, so they're at 47 right now. But not a big deal. We patched up a washout on East Mountain View by the culvert, which needs to rise to the replacement stage. That thing's getting kind of weak. We went down this morning to the south end sewer. I know you didn't want me to talk about sewers, but I gave you a week off. I gave you a week off.
I know, so I was wondering.
So we went down there this morning, tried to get that open. One last try. We went down with a cutter, tried to cut through it. Can't do it. It is what it is from this point forward. Robert Clark sent me a couple concept drawings the other day, and I edited them, sent them back. So they're working on solution there, but it's nothing that's going to happen this week or tomorrow or anything like that. So we're working on it.
And what's next step? Some specs and then we go out to bid?
Yeah, we're gonna have to get some drawings from them, something that everybody agrees on committee wise, and then it would be a bid thing.
There's not a lot of options for,
Well, they're
I mean,
just a
pretty much you're
10,000
talking open
10,000
cut.
foot view is to kind of abandon that line that's there, move to the north, set a manhole and kind of run everything into that and go straight across to the manhole that's behind Taco Bell. It's still directional drilling a couple 100 feet, but get into that manhole. And then the only thing that would be on that other one is just that sports clips, building, that little plaza there.
But they wouldn't put that way that you could maintain service while we install a new line.
Right. So there would be a new manhole probably out toward the road from that one we have the problem with. It'd be a manhole out toward the road, and that would just kind of come all straight across there from the Denny's line. That line, drop the new manhole in across from Taco Bell, directional drill that way. The only situation I see, and I actually told Robert this in my email, was there's not a whole lot of flow on that manhole in front of Sports Clips. And we opened that one today, and there's quite a bit of solids in there because there's just not enough water to push it out. So that's going to have to be a maintenance issue. I mean, we're going to go out tomorrow and put a 500-gallon tank of water in it and flush that out. But that's going to be a problem going forward just because there's not enough flow in it.
Yeah, that would eliminate the one coming across the road now.
It would eliminate that one entirely. Yep.
Okay,
And is he kind of thinking on the lines of, I mean, pretty much gonna have to dig across Route 7, or would you try to bore across there to do it?
He didn't really get into that, and this was just basically a concept of where the lines are and where they would go.
think V-Trans was saying you got bore 3 times.
That's what they
before
said. They got to fail 3 times. They didn't say you got bored 3 times. They
Yeah.
said you have to fail three
You have to
times.
fail 3 times.
I'm
And you got to
wondering-
figure that's a, $60,000-$70,000 proposition each time to fail.
So I'm wondering if that's
It's nuts.
something we would challenge with the state,
I don't see how we don't.
through our engineering
That's
firm
just,
say
that's
that,
crazy.
the directional boring concept is not going to solve the problem, and to, make the town spend a couple of $100,000 on the failed attempts to fix this, when for double that, maybe we can fix it.
Well, and just so you get an idea, when you directional drill, you have to push a sleeve in behind it because you can't leave a hole.
Right.
So now if the only way to know that you're probably not going to hit home is to go all the way. Now you got 3 sleeves in there that you can't use because you come in high, you come in left, you come in, whatever happens. And you have to leave them. And you just paid to put those sleeves in there for absolutely no reason whatsoever. To open cut the thing, to put it in the way you should have put it in the first time anyway. So I think we can argue. I don't know that we get there, but I think we can put up a pretty reasonable stink.
Given soil conditions,
Right.
previous whatevers. Because the state's going to make us probably do something with the line we abandoned, right?
They're gonna make us try to fill it somehow. And again, we went in today, he went in 50 feet, hit something. I was trying to cut it. And he hit something, pulled back, pulled out his cutter was actually inside a plastic bottle. That's why he couldn't go forward anymore. So he pulled that out. But high note, while we had everything pumped down, I had bought a couple weeks ago, I bought a trash basket fits inside the invert.
Mhm.
And we actually got to get it in because all the manholes weren't full. So we can stop everything from coming from that direction now anyway. It will
Over by the driveway to the,
at the driveway at Diamond Run Place or whatever that road is called.
we'll know if the debris is coming from the car wash.
It'll be theirs. When they call and say, we have a problem, we can say, yes, you do.
Yeah, Matt's got a question.
So if you open cut the road, who pays for that and putting it back? Is that something that is us?
Raise your hand.
Look around the room.
Oh,
Dave won't be paying. He doesn't
no,
know.
I mean, the reason I ask is
Everybody
because
else here might
if
be.
the state is thinking that there's any cost that would fall on them, it would make sense for us to pay it. So we say, okay, we're just gonna pay it. So it'll cost us less. to
We'll
just
pay
do
it either way.
do it.
It's our line. We'll pay it either way.
So
They
just
don't-
tell them we can't afford to
No,
fail 3 times. We just
Yeah,
need to
no.
do the job and get
And
it
that
done.
sounds more like an engineering policy rather than,
Well, so if you're drilling across 2 roads or a 2-lane road, you're not going 200 feet. We're in a different, I think we have an argument.
okay,
We're going 200 plus feet. If you're going 50 feet across
Grove Street.
Grove Street, that's one thing.
yeah.
The
Okay.
other part of it, it's a sewer line. It's got to flow downhill.
It's got to flow
It
downhill.
has to be
It's not electrical conduit that,
Right.
Okay.
it can have
It's not a water line that's pressurized
pressurized
or
water.
anything.
And that's why we had talked about a force main across there.
Yep.
But the force main could be done. The problem is the pumping station and the maintenance to make that work would be actually worse.
It would be way more expensive.
Yeah.
Hugely expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, the pump
Just wouldn't
station, all
cover
would be
Route 7.
probably 300,000 just to put the pump station in.
And then you still got the cost of putting the main across, and
Well, because then you got to think we got to get electricity to it. So you got to get GMP involved and a pole and power and
state
on it
involved to
goes.
allow us to put that probably in the right way. And may or may not. Yeah. So, these are things we kicked around with Robert to no
Yeah.
end one day.
Well, it looks like highway is going to be busy again.
We give a proposal. I think once Otter Creek comes up with a plan and a proposal for us, and then I think we got to send it to the state and tell them this is what we want to do and try to get them to waive the 3 failures. Cause I think that's an unnecessary expense on the town. It's like doomed to fail.
Mhm.
To try to carry that 1/8 inch per foot grade across 210 feet.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen.
Next time you talk to Robert, send him an email. Could you just kind of remind him that this is like top priority, needs to get done like yesterday?
Yep.
If he could, just keep that in his ear all the time.
And then the last little thing I got is, I put out a bid for, sewer cleaning and inspection, just because this is where we are, and the paving stuff. So we have a committee meeting next week. So we got paving bids and sewer bids coming in this week, to be open next week.
As a result of our finance committee meeting, I'm supposed to remind department heads and committees that work with departments. We're coming up on the end of the third quarter, so do go over your numbers, expenses with your department heads and see where you are, please.
Please don't.
No,
Some things are pretty easy.
I know, but that goes for everybody.
Overall budget's good. It's just certain line
Yeah,
items
yeah.
it took an awful hit this one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And everybody's budget.
no one's mentioning the SALT word,
no,
so we're okay.
we're good,
Yeah, okay.
I think.
Good thing about this time of year, it's only an inconvenience for a short period of time.
True.
'Cause it-
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said. If we get 6 inches, it's gone in 3 days, so.
You know,
The gentleman,
Any questions from the select board for our road commissioner? No? Okay. Mr. Gagnon, we don't customarily go to the audience but if,
I was just gonna make a comment, just let me know, do you work with Brian Sanderson from V-Trans out of District 3?
Mhm.
So he probably sent you a letter, just advise me, so my email address is in there, just let me know what roads Rutland Town is planning on paving this year, so we can avoid striping it, and then we'll come
Okay.
back out and restripe it.
Yep.
Similar to Post Road, so
Okay.
okay,
that's all.
good, thank you, appreciate that. Okay, anything else? We'll let you go. Thank you very much.
Have a good night, guys. Thank you.
All right, Ed Dumas, Town Police Chief. And Ted Washburn, Deputy Chief.
we got everybody here tonight.
I know, really. The same reminder, work with your committees, that would be in that.
Yep.
On what your third quarter expenses are looking like.
Yeah, we had we had a bill that come in that was a little off, so we've been Ted's been arguing with the watch guard people, the Motorola, to figure out why it's so high. So
Okay,
we looked at the contract, and the contract says something. We looked at what we paid in the past, and we didn't really pay enough, and so we're waiting for responses.
okay. All right.
I really don't have much to.
Well, you saw the note concerning the end of the homeless housing for this particular program.
Yes, so
Where have these people been housed?
Well, in the city right now.
Right.
Right.
So it's not, I mean, we don't have anything, 'cause
Right.
Cortina's closed. For all
as
intents.
far as I know at this point in time, I have not heard anything that it's open.
So they were going to have an inspection. Did they have the inspection? Do you know?
My word is that they were sent a letter to them, but
We don't know what's in the
We don't
letter.
know.
we don't know, nothing at this point. I don't think they've had an inspection as of yet.
Oh,
I thought they had, but no.
thought it was supposed to happen a couple of weeks ago.
Great.
We did,
Yeah,
we
me
did
too,
have a
Mayor.
word from, Mr. Loris, who said that their license is probably going to be reinstated, but I haven't heard anything officially at this point.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So, if you could like keep an eye, because once they start
Oh,
opening up,
Oh, yes.
they owe the town money to cover the costs, and you've got to shift your patrols down there and so on. Okay. Questions for our chief of police or deputy?
Get your car thing figured out?
pardon?
The new car?
Yeah, that's,
Also.
it's ordered. We're waiting to hear from them.
What's
Didn't sell it
the,
on us or on you.
What's that?
They didn't sell it before we.
No, no.
Yeah.
Okay,
We
good.
managed to keep it for us, so that was good.
Yeah, that's good.
What's the timeline now for getting it?
4 months, we said?
Allegedly sometime in April.
Well, that's not bad at all.
No, that's,
Okay.
I was very happy when they told me sometime.
Believe
in
it when
April.
I see it.
Yeah, is that
Also what I said too.
before then it goes to detailing, or is that when
That's
everything
when,
is done?
that is when 95% of it is done.
Wow, good.
Lights, sirens, radios, cameras, radar will all be installed.
Inspection,
It
for
comes back
example.
here
Yeah.
for graphics, pretty much.
Okay.
That's it.
CBC put the radio in when we get.
No,
No.
yes, the main radio, yes, but they'll put the secondary in down there.
You get it, right? Okay. Right. Any
Yeah,
other?
we did have one criminal in the station, a little mouse. It's been chewing everything.
I've heard that
heard
you've
that.
been invaded.
Well, we
Yes.
eliminated one of them so far, so.
Okay, you got a dog. I mean,
Yes.
dogs can, put Rooster to work or we were talking about barn cats, having some experience with them.
No target practice inside.
No.
They moved in. If you were a field mouse out in that field and you watch that being built for 16 or 18 months and thinking, man, as soon as the doors open, I'm there.
Yeah.
They were moved in before it was done.
Yeah, I'm sure. Okay, any other things on the punch list that you've noticed? We had a good walkthrough with,
Yeah.
with town council, and then Joe had a good walkthrough.
I was there yesterday.
Yeah, so. Getting
I have
close.
some more information. You guys will be here to hear it. That door that bothered when we went through with, you were there. You can't see daylight through it yesterday.
Remember that,
When we
yes.
looked at it, and I had a witness, a very reliable witness.
Yep.
When we were there, you could
Yeah,
put your finger
yeah.
between the door and the weather stripping that Wednesday. And
Yeah.
yesterday, that door is just as tight as you get, there's no no movement at all.
All right, what did they do?
There, nothing, it's, Gary said it's expansion because of the metal doors and the weather. On a warm day, the doors expand or whatever,
But
and
in the winter, when they contract, that's when the
should
heat
be.
escapes, and
And the
that's
door
when we
shuts
really
better.
need
because
it.
that day we were there, it was warm.
Yeah, summertime, the door won't shut.
Yeah, and you get into all kinds of things. If you try to make the closers pull the door tight, then you might be in violation of some other rule or whatever. So it'll just be something we'll have to watch, but they were made aware of it, yes.
Okay.
I couldn't believe it because I took them over, showed this door. I can't see outside today.
Yeah, there were like 4 or 5 doors like that.
2 or 3, but they're all, yesterday, they're all tight. Can't see outside, can't see nothing. So,
That's why the mice are now inside.
no, these, well.
The
I
mice
hate
are
mice.
caulking it to weatherproof it.
Can't get back
Yeah.
out.
Okay. All right. That's all we have.
I have one thing. I don't know if everybody realizes that Jared, they were gonna get the shades.
Yes.
Shades were $4,000, and Jared went online and found the same things
Mhm.
and got them for $600.
Yeah.
Put 'em
So
He was actually up there when we went through, so we thanked
he?
him. We
Yeah,
thanked him for
I
it.
mean,
That was great.
what
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
got a good kid.
Okay, if there's nothing else, thank you very much.
You guys need me. Here, I have a family obligation I gotta take care of.
We're all set. Thank
Okay. Have a good day.
you. You too. Mike Rowe, Town Rec Director.
Hello all, how are we doing?
Hi, we're good.
Well, again, thanks to Dave and the crew for getting my favorite part of the season up and running. Smelling the grass the other day, got all excited. So that's literally coming before we know it.
First person I ever met turned down by grass.
You know, it's something about riding on the mower, and sorry. I like it. You should be happy about that. Couple things, baseball, the signups are underway, so please remember to sign up. We have a good list going so far. We will start that the first week of May as far as games. So I'll have the schedule out to Bill for all that. I see his son is signed up, so we're all good to go. The big thing is that for the first time that I can remember is that I want to congratulate our fifth and sixth grade boys basketball team that actually won the Glodzik tournament last week and a half
Nice.
ago. And I don't remember the last time we have won that tournament. And so huge thank you to Tim Hammond and Brian Kamuta and for coaching the boys and all the boys that played. They did a great job, represented the town very well. So it was fun to watch.
Good. Congratulations.
So congrats to them. The seniors, as you mentioned, we have our luncheon on Thursday. I don't know if anybody see this. I sent out another email. We seem to have plenty of food. Sharon has graciously cooked the meatballs and sauce, and we're meeting and going to cook the pasta on
Good.
Thursday. And then it's at the fire station. Bill said he let me in around 10. I'm gonna go shop for the stuff in the morning. Just that we said that we would provide. So it'll be interesting to see what we have. A lot of
Yep.
different cookies and exotic salads that people are bringing. So I would fully encourage you to come on over and have some pasta at about 11:30. Speaking of the seniors, I am going to book at some point in June a cruise on the Ethan Allen for them during the day. I have a price, and I just set up a border war. I called Marianne Goulet, and on May 22nd, which I'll send to the I'll tell them on Thursday, May 22nd, we are having East Side meet the West Side seniors at the West Rutland Town Hall with hopefully definitely the Rutland Town Jazz Band, and the West Rutland Jazz Band will be performing. It will be a pizza lunch, but they'll be having the two bands from the two towns play, and then the seniors will gather and have a good time.
Great.
So that should be pretty cool. And thanks to Marianne for helping with that. But that was something I thought would be pretty cool. The name sounds a little funny. East versus West. I mean, we literally are. You can have as much fun as you want.
Better send a couple cops over there.
So,
Keep the crowd under
so it
control.
could be a little dust up going on. I'm not gonna lie. Could be some tempers flaring. And then we'll plan something for April, just in between. But then,
Yeah.
like I said, we'll get flowing. Other than that, I don't have a lot. Just getting ready to. Next month are very busy, so a lot of stuff going on.
Okay.
Do you guys have anything for me? No.
So,
Awesome. So I'll meet you around 10 on Thursday.
yep.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll go from there. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Bill, looks like you're all alone by yourself now.
Yeah. Okay, Joe Denardo, Public Safety Building, Clerk of the Works.
Okay, so I've had two get-togethers at the Public Safety Building. Last Wednesday, Mary and I met there with Kevin Brown to go over some of the contract things and ask some questions to him. Then we took a walk around the building and we pointed out, there's a few things. We had the punch list stuff, and he has determined that at this point, this is kind of in VMS's hands to request their final payment. And then the punch list, when I was there yesterday, Ed asked me for that. So we have 31 items on here. And before we send this out to Ed, we should go through, and some of the stuff has been done. So I think we should leave the list as it is and just make a note whether the things that have been done or not. So we can either do it now or I can do it with Bill before we email it out. But there are a number of things that we have completed that were on the original list.
I
and
would,
some of
I would leave it on and let Ed determine, because he really has to do the,
right,
the
but what I'm
sign-up.
saying is, so like items 8, where the missing fire alarm and pull station,
Mhm.
that's been done.
Okay,
That's been done. The exit signs have been done, 9, and the shades are put in. So I would leave these, but I would just note that they're done,
okay.
so that they know that there's some things where that electronic being able to get into the police department, you can only unlock it with a key because they the other parts there. The roof leak, there's still things condensation. So anyway, that's where we are. So this list needs to go. So yesterday's meeting was mostly to discuss the issue in the police, and it's not the Sally Port, but it's like their maintenance storage bay, and water pools against the wall there. There is a slight pitch the wrong way, probably about 1/8 or 3/16 of an inch. But what I did learn is, in order for the building to properly meet ADA requirements. If you have a personnel door that is handicapped accessible, which that door is, there has to be the floor has to be level. It cannot have any pitch to it. So when you come in that door and as you're facing the overhead door, the door is on the right, that one side is level. Where the walk-in doors, and that has to be level. Behind the cars, where the water problem is, that has to be level. That floor can't have any pitch to it.
But there is a
Well,
pitch and it's the wrong way.
It's the wrong way, but it was supposed to be perfectly level, which
Okay.
what begs to me is like, I understand this. So, but this is the
Either
reasoning.
way, it's got to be fixed.
Well,
or-
the fix they're talking is an epoxy sealer to put on there to try to bring it back so the water won't pool against the wall. That's probably the only other fix. You can't take the cement out and you can't do anything. The same is in the apparatus bay behind the fire trucks. There's a 10-foot section behind the trucks that is perfectly flat. So when the boys are washing the truck, if water gets out there, they're gonna have to get a squeegees and make it go to the drains. This is all stuff that I learned yesterday about when you have areas where people that are handicapped would be in a wheelchair, the floors have to be level. So that's part of the problem. So if you were coming in and going behind the cars and there's saw cuts that this is all designed into the floor, there's an expansion joint cut there. That cut where we looked from there to the wall, that's supposed to be perfectly flat. So even if water got there, it's just going to sit there. It's not going to drain away. That's off just a little bit. I mean, in how many thousands or hundreds of square feet, you got this one problem. I don't like it, but I'm not surprised that you'd have some of this happening. The other bay is the same way. So one of the recommendations is that the fire department's already got a bunch of squeegees hanging on the walls in where the pickup is. The PD is gonna have to get a couple and they'll have to be there and just gonna have to, that walkway is what I'd call it, flat. But this would be the fix, they'll try to put an epoxy down, and Vic assured me that it'll stick and stay and it should be able to get the pitch right and the water, but it's just the way.
Is there a guarantee on the life of the epoxy?
That's whatever the manufacturer says. No, probably no guarantees. The warranties in the building, so like the ventilation system comes with its warranty. We talked about this. The overhead doors all of the subsystems with the building have their warranties from the installation and how it's done. So
that wall there, are we talking about sheetrock or what is it?
We call it FRP.
FRP board.
We call it Terry board.
It's a waterproof board. All of the interior walls in the bays where the vehicles are that FRP board. It's a plastic or
We don't really have
composite.
to worry about it.
No,
soaking
but
up water.
if water, it's not watertight to the floor. So if water gets under that, you have metal studs.
There's
That are-
metal.
that-
Could we
Theoretically,
put in
you can
some
have
kind of like a rubber footer?
I'm hoping they can put the epoxy down. We're talking a minute change, so I don't know. And I talk to people that are in this business, and because that floor is radiant heat, you can't cut that out of there. If that was a normally heated building, you could cut that one saw cut, take it out and re-pour that and pitch it, get it just right, that one section. But because there's heat in there, you can't touch it.
Well, I mean, if they get it flat, I can't imagine there's gonna be a lot of pooling water there. It's
No,
not-
and it's just one of those things that the other bay has an optical illusion like
Yes,
we thought it
ran
was
water
lower,
in there to
but
see.
it's not. The other bay is fine.
It's fine.
This one here, like I say, pour that much cement to get every bit of it perfect is the goal. And they've got one 5 by 16 section there that's just and it's only one corner. Part of it's good. It's just one corner, is just off it. That
There was
little bit.
water there because Ted had just washed the cruiser.
Right.
So we got a chance to see it.
See, and you can see where once it's dry, there's a little bit of sediment there.
He's not washing it in the bay though, right? He's
Well,
washing it outside and driving it in.
And I guess if when they're washing the cars, they try to not spray water in that direction, you know, because Ted was there when they were talking, if they try to spray the water from the whatever toward the overhead door, it'll be, but there's that flat area, like I said, where the walkway is. That's the same way. Water will get on that and it will not run to the drain. It's going to have to be assisted
Squeegee.
over there with a squeegee. So
Did the
that's one of the
police
things.
realize they need to get squeegees?
I talked to him about it,
Good.
and I did leave Lynette a message that there is money in building maintenance for that building, so they can get what they need for that.
Sure.
I think most of the stuff, and I'll ask Chris when he's on, I think most of the stuff the fire department's bothering is coming out of probably the fire department maintenance. I'm not sure where, because they had a lot of stuff. They had squeegees, they had buildings before. So a lot of this stuff they just took out of McKinley and brought it back and hung it on the wall.
Okay.
The PD is going from somewhere where they had no facilities at all. So some of this is new. They haven't had indoor storage, but that's probably the biggest deficiency. They did look at they're going to get somebody onto the, AC or the climate control in the fire department server room. That's one of the things
Oh,
out here.
right. So where are we with, the sprinkler system?
The, pump is in. I
Okay,
didn't have access to that, so I couldn't go in and see.
okay,
They did talk about the controls.
yeah,
I didn't like the answer, so we'll have to discuss it some more, but somewhere between the design and the bidding, between the sprinkler designing and what the electrical engineer designed and what we want, there's a gap there. So that's why the controls weren't purchased. Vic's explanation to me is that if the sprinkler contractor had bid the project with the proper controls, his bid would have been about $15,000 to $18,000 more, because that's what the difference between the controls they put in and what we need. They're going to be able to take what's in there out, install the proper controls. There will be room, but there's going to be a $15,000 or $18,000 additional cost there that they're telling me the town's got to
Nope.
bear the price. And I didn't say yes or no, but he tried to explain to me, somebody's got to explain to me why.
it's on us.
Well, why
Yeah.
would you install that fire pump in that building and not connect it to the generator? And when you're installing those controls, so I don't know who dropped the ball, but that is going to probably be the hardest resolution to what's left to be done there. Is
Okay,
obviously Vic doesn't want to eat the cost, and I don't think the sprinkler designer does, and I don't think the sprinkler installer does. So they're going to say, well, the owner wants it, so the owner's got to pay for it. But I think it was designed into the building, and somebody's got to
yeah,
prove to me that it wasn't. And somewhere where this miscommunication was. Now, if everybody were willing to share it, part of that might be different, but it sounded
Yes.
like, well, you guys, you know, if they had bid it right with the right equipment, his bid would have been more, but I couldn't say that yes or no.
and who prepared the bids?
Well, the sprinkler company.
Uh-huh.
So what they do is when a contractor like VMS puts this, they get all that stack of paper and all these subsystems. They actually put those out to bid to different sprinkler companies, different door companies, different electricians, and who comes in with the best price for them gets the job.
Mhm.
And so they hired this company. Now, I don't know who reviews the design. It can't, you know, I think that the person acting in the best interest of the town should be our architect.
Yes,
They are the expert,
yes,
and each subsystem, maybe, you know, did anybody sit down and go through each subsystem? Because somewhere in there, in that design, somebody should have seen, well, we got this fire pump and we got this fire pump control, but it's not hooked to the generator. Because it has its own feed from the pole, and they said, well, you have reliable power. And my argument to them yesterday was, well, if we have reliable power, then why do we have this 200,000 watt, $50,000 generator sitting in the backyard? You know, obviously these aren't apples and apples here. If there's reliable power, we don't need a generator. So if we have reliable power, it's okay for the safety of the building powering this generator. So I didn't like some of the answers, but I didn't think that it's good time. That wasn't my point to get in an argument. We need to, but that is in the process and it will be corrected.
Okay.
And then how we settle the dust on who pays.
There
will
is a
depend on
point at
who's
which
best
the
argument.
town has been, paid and done change orders. And yes, there was early on an adjustment and the contractor worked with us and they ate some of the cost and we ate some of the cost.
Right.
But
The other thing too that we haven't discussed is the delay in the finish of the building.
yes,
So there is some question there. The pull station and the two exit signs. I believe I don't think those should be on us. Cause they want, that bill from Royals was like $1,200 or $1,300 to put one pull station in. It was outrageous, but anyway, it was done. So I need somebody to look at the drawings and see if that pull station was in the drawings and the two signs, one going from I think it's
that
the
would be the
Sally Port.
architect. That would be the architect. Should
Well,
look at the,
Even if it's not in
Yeah.
the drawings, it need to be in the drawings and the
Yeah.
engineer can need it.
Yeah.
Somebody who
Or the
designed that,
architect.
where those exit signs and those pull stations were. And again, if that's missed by the people designing the building, why would we be liable? for it?
exactly.
So this is, but I don't know where the town set of plans are. If I could get the town set of plans, I
Yeah.
will get my brother to help me look through them because we
Uh,
can do, I don't know if
Does
JP's got
JP
them. or
have
if
them?
they're- Huh?
Does JP have them?
I'm not sure if if he has them.
we need them.
The full set's at Roberts, I think, or not Roberts, Ed Clark's.
Yeah.
But we got a
Yeah,
set,
Clark.
but we got a set for that building. The town, I believe.
We really, because we went through this with Center and I don't want to go through it
I'll
again.
see if I can get a hold of JP and see if he has, because the
Okay.
town should have got
Yes,
that. It's probably in every,
There's a lot of them, yeah.
there's a lot of things.
yeah,
VMS's copy, they hang them on they have a special rack and they're all in there and they go through and you can pull out, okay, this is a ventilation,
good.
electrical. We need to find that and they need to have somebody look at that and I don't know. I'm a little frustrated. Maybe a lot.
can tell.
frustrated.
If we cannot find it if JP doesn't have it, we don't know where it is. Somebody's got to generate a whole set for us.
Yeah, well,
We can't
well,
Go through this.
NBF should have given us our copy.
Yes, yeah,
And it should be a big stack. So I'll contact JP and see if he has them or where they are.
okay. What, I was
And,
just
and then we'll
thinking,
just get this punch list off to Ed and they plan on mid-April. This is a plan. Fabian's going to return. They're hoping mid-April, things will guide, weather will calm down.
Uh-huh.
Get working on the site work. As soon as it's applicable, get Wilkes in there, do the finished paving. And I said, well, I want to be involved with the PD as to where we put the impound yard
yes, yeah,
and where it's located, because it needs to be in a recessed area out of the way. We've done a lot of work on the back. And so it needs to be tucked in a corner someplace where it's accessible and that has to be paved also. So,
You gotta make sure it's accessible by record too.
right. Yeah.
I'm thinking while we're on this subject, should we have our brief executive session now? Because it's all related.
Up to you. You're in charge.
Yeah, all right, well, if I can get a motion from someone.
So move.
This is to hear advice of counsel.
Yeah.
Motion's
Second.
made, seconded.
Yep.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we'll be in executive session.
All set.
Okay, we are back on the record out of executive session at 7:25. And while we had heard the report of the clerk of the works for the public safety building. And then we, in executive session, as heard some advice from council, we're out there. We do need to do a related bit of business, which is in our packet, which is Vermont Bond Bank requests a certificate of project completion. So, and the term that they use is whether it is substantially completed so as to permit efficient use and operation. And we will note that the police department and the fire department are in the building. So is there a motion concerning the Vermont Bond Bank Certificate of Public Project Completion?
Move to approve.
Motion's made. Is there a second?
Second.
And seconded. Any discussion? And we all get to sign, by the way. Yep.
I
If
have
not-
a comment, Mary, if you don't mind.
Oh, Chris, yes.
Are you talking about paying off the new building already?
We are not. No. This is, the bond bank wants to know when the building is complete. And that's all this is. It doesn't mean that we pay off the bond immediately or anything like that. We're on a payment
No.
schedule.
Right, I understand that. My point is, my personal opinion is the sprinkler's not done. The state allowed us to move into that building with a temporary pump. That sprinkler pump was supposed to be done, I don't know how many Wednesdays ago, over a month. The sprinkler guy told me to my face, and it's still not done. And it's affecting us because we can't use the pump to fill our fire trucks because that's what's using the sprinkler, or utilizing the sprinkler system. So to pay this VMS off without this being done is asinine, in my opinion.
No, we are not paying off VMS. We are not. This is
Okay.
something very
Also,
different.
The state calls me. They've probably called me twice to ask me if it's done yet to get the final inspection. I told them that it was supposed to be done on a Wednesday that guy told me. And I looked in there today and it's still not done. So
Okay.
the state is, I mean, we wouldn't be in that building right now if the state did not allow us that exception. So to
I
sign anything
understand.
off is ridiculous, but that's just my opinion. That's all I have.
Yeah, Chris, this is just what the bond bank wants to know, that the building is substantially completed, which it is. It doesn't affect our contract with VMS and them finishing up what they have to do. When we send this email to Ed Clark, I'll have Bill note on there to him that the state's on our case to get this done because they allowed us a temporary setup and allow us to occupy the building. So hopefully, between Ed Clark and Vic Shappy, they can get the sprinkler guys up there to do it. I'm sure they've moved on to another building somewhere and they're trying to fix this in, which is no excuse, but that's what they'll use. So I'll make sure in that email to Ed that that's noted.
Does the comments made by our fire chief change the way anyone would proceed with this request from the bond bank to certify?
Doesn't mind.
It says it's just allows to permit efficient use and operations. I mean, I don't know. I suppose you could make the argument that if you can't fill the trucks, then it's not efficient use. I don't.
You want to move to table for
I-
2 meetings?
I guess I
Until
don't.
the next
I guess I don't understand how important this is or what they're actually trying to assess.
I think the bond bank wants to know whether their asset's done or not, essentially.
I think so.
You know,
I mean,
that's-
they could
And
argue
it's
this.
inhabited, everything
Yeah, we're
is there,
using
but you know, the one system, and
We're
we've been
not-
in there for almost 2 months now.
Yeah, I mean, so I would think that's probably sufficient for this, but
Yeah.
you could argue.
But I'm
it
in
anyway.
no hurry to pay anybody any extra money or any rest of the money.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
Which is
an
not-
alternative is to either withdraw the motion or to table this until the next
I don't
meeting.
think this affects our status with VMS. Cause
No.
VMS has not asked us for their final payment. Ed Clark has not got the punch list, so we are still,
But if we sign this,
this is just telling the bond bank that the building is substantially completed, which it is.
Say that you could put a note on here, say there's still a long punch list, but we are using the building.
But they don't, and I don't think that the bond bank cares. They just want to know that the money they loaned us went to where it's supposed to be and we got what's done. And we did. There's some glitches, but that's. Oh. And we, you know, we aren't going to pay off the contractor until we're happy.
You ready for the vote?
Yes.
All in favor of the motion to sign the Vermont Bond Bank Certificate of Project Completion certificate, please say aye.
I,
Aye. Motion carries 5-0, and we can all sign. $25. Okay. All right. So that was Clerk of the Works report. John Paul Faignant, Health Officer. Not on. Barbara Noyes Pulling. She was on earlier.
you fell asleep? No.
Oh.
I would.
Not here currently.
Okay, Larry Dell Veneri. Right, Marcia Chioffi. Nope. We know Chris Clark is, so we'll go with
I was
Chris.
gonna say, Chris is not there either.
I'm here.
Okay.
Couple things. You guys were talking about the punch list.
Yep.
Everybody asked Billy what's on the fire department one, but I have 2 pages here in front of me that Billy doesn't know about.
Okay.
Every nail in the meeting room is popping out of the sheetrock. That needs to be fixed. Computer wire in the office, that might be on the original list. The air conditioner in the server room has never worked, so we have to leave the door open.
That's on the list, Chris.
Okay. I know you spent 10 grand on door locks that have been sitting in town hall for 2 or 3 weeks. I don't know who's putting them in, but are they getting put in, or are the fire department putting them in themselves, or?
I was waiting for a part to go along with them, which came in today. So,
Okay.
there's,
The CO alarm that keeps setting the fire alarm off that we have to keep going to the building has not been addressed. And I went through the fire alarm panel the other day, and it's coming from, I believe it's the bay that police use to wash their cars. So if we could call about that, because we're getting called there, and I'm not a full-time Rutland Town employee, so I have to leave work for this stuff. The kitchen sink pipe cover, I've talked about for a couple weeks. I actually ordered it myself the other day, so we can get that done.
Chris, that stuff is coming through VMS. The cabinet installer is waiting for that, and that stuff, Vic called him yesterday, and I wasn't sure if it was in yet or not, but it is in the works. That stuff's all in the works.
Okay.
Yep.
And the radios and antennas, I know they're not here yet, or they're not up, but I told you my feelings on the sprinkler system. The blueprints that nobody can find. I've seen the blueprints 100 times. Every time I went to that building, I would look through them. And when the mysterious color came about, it seems all the blueprints disappeared. So I even saw a new set with the green color building on it, which I know was not original. So I do not have any idea where the original blueprints went. So maybe Ed could draw us a new set or print them out or whatever he does, because I'd like to just have a set forever to keep in the station.
Yeah, we talked about that too, Chris. We're going to get a set one
Find
way
where
or
our
another.
copy
Yeah.
is.
Okay. And then on the list that was emailed to us, I know there's a few that have been done, like the fire extinguisher inspection.
Has that been done, Chris?
Yeah, I had Mike Roy come. He did all the ones in the trucks and the buildings.
Okay.
Number 12. I saw the roofer on the roof one day when I was there. I didn't get a chance to talk to him, but I'm assuming he was looking for some kind of leak, which I don't think there is a leak. Number 18, the hose, ropes, and pulleys. We did that ourselves. And 22, the water softener is fixed and in working order. So that's all done.
Okay.
But it seems like we're going back in time here where we're letting stuff go for too long, and then it gets forgotten, and then we're going to run into what we ran into 10 years ago. And I
Yeah, nothing's
So all this stuff
Yeah.
I'm trying to do, and it's not my job really, but I want it to be done so we can say it's done. I mean, we spent how many millions of dollars on this, and we're just gonna let it, linger on for all the little punch list things. But I know it takes time,
Chris,
but
no, Chris, we have asked you and Ed to provide us with just what you have. And now that you're in there, you're going to keep finding things. We are assuming there'll be an end to them, but we want to make sure that we have a very complete punch list. So thank you for bringing them all to us. And Joey is going to be working with the architect whose responsibility it is to sign off on the punch list. So
Yep.
it's all part of the process. We're not forgetting anything.
okay.
Chris, do you know if the boiler inspection has been done?
I do not. The state hasn't called me to come do that. So I don't know if the plumbers did it or not. I can look for a tag tomorrow.
Okay, because I'm looking at the list. There's about 31 items on here. Some of them are added new. That's one of the things. I have talked to them about the carbon monoxide. I'm not sure who is responsible for adjusting that or what's going on in that police bay. But it's pretty much that same bay all the time.
It is.
Okay.
And by the time
That's
we
there.
get there, it's already reset itself. So you actually have to go through the panel and see
Okay.
what the last alarms were.
All right. So I'll make a note on here that it's that one particular thing, the police maintenance bay. Some of these other things, we ordered the 911 sign, so that should show up and it would be VMS putting that on.
Yeah, we have that at the station. It's not
Okay.
us. We have-
So the plan, and I don't know if you heard me when I was giving my report, the plan is when things start happening there, once the weather warms up, all of the things that VMS needs to address will be done, so they can go through this. The door locks and stuff are pretty much on, and that is on us. The shades for the PD are done. I don't know what the issue was with the cooling in that server room for the fire department. Ed looked at it, Vic looked at it, Gary looked at it yesterday, and they couldn't figure out what's wrong. So the wires are there and it should have been running. There's breakers that feed it, but for some reason it doesn't work. So
Yep.
that, I told them, well, that needs to be kind of moved up to the top of the list. We need to figure out what that's going on. Have you heard anything from CVC about the antennas and getting that stuff up?
I haven't heard from them in a couple weeks. I know the stuff is there. They just are short on help. I don't know if somebody moved on or what, but they were trying to get every employee they have to come so they could get it all done in
Okay.
a day or two.
'Cause they're going to have, I don't know how they're going to access the tower. I'm not real thrilled if they're going to ladder that new roof and get up there. I don't know how they're going to do that, or if they're going to hire a man lift. But that'll be something we'll need to keep an eye on.
Yeah. I'm not sure how they're getting up there either.
Okay.
Chris, so you said the CO was in the maintenance bay for the police, right?
Yeah.
Not in the Sally Port?
It says garage bay 2. I'm assuming the pickup is 1, that middle bay's 2, and the Sally Port's 3. I'm assuming.
Yeah, even if it was numbered the other way, it'd probably still be the middle one.
It'll still be the middle. Either way, it's going to be the middle one. I
Yeah.
think.
So we should ask the police department to just stop using that, stop pulling their cars in that bay for right now until we get that adjusted, so you guys don't keep chasing that alarm all the time.
I did talk to Ed and Ted. They were turning the fan on before they drove in and out, but I don't think it's not enough, obviously, if the alarm keeps going off. But
Yeah.
It could be a defective detector in there.
For what that bay is, they can just not use it right now until the CO sensor's fixed.
yeah, whatever works. I mean, I don't want them to stop washing their cars because they're nice looking, but
Yeah.
Yeah, they can wash them outside.
So was that, did that complete your list, Chris?
I did for the station.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't see anything extra on here from, the boiler room door, that one's not closing, so that's on here.
And neither does the sprinkler room door, and that's an outside door, so that one should get adjusted.
Okay. Yeah, all right, I'm just trying to go through and you heard the whole discussion on the transfer switch. That won't, well, it has to be installed, but that's not going to adversely affect it. I don't know if they're waiting to come and get that installed and do the pump at the same time. You would think they would tell you that if that's what they're waiting on.
Yeah, I mean, the electrician said they were just waiting on the sprinkler guys to bring whatever they're changing, that big red box.
Yeah. All right. They have a price on it, but I haven't heard any more from that. All right. So I'm looking at, I asked him about the breakers and I didn't get anything. So I think that's going to be a question for JJ as to why those breakers are tripping.
Okay.
And Dave did have a thought on that the last time we talked about it. And, so we'll need to try to figure out what's going on with those.
Yep.
Okay.
So that's it on
All
the
right. Hopefully, once things start gearing back up to finish the outside work, the paving, get the signage up, the bank done, and VMS will more or less be back in there. But like I said, the first step is to get this list to Ed, and then we can try to get the ball rolling and get some of this stuff done. Get it all done, not some. Everything needs to be done.
Yes, that would be great.
Yep.
So what else?
Do you know, sorry, man, it's just, do you know where the leak was? I think that's in the bay. Is that in the bay where the pickup is, where they thought it was leaking?
Yeah, it's as soon as you walk in the door from like where the tanker is, you look up and there's a roof drain right there. So they thought maybe it's coming from that.
Okay, because Gary was showing me that yesterday, that section of drain there is not insulated for some reason. And he was wondering if it might be some condensation, but my concern was it leaking because it was snow on the roof and if heat's getting up because that's not insulated and somewhere it's melting or something. So,
right.
When we get a big rainstorm or something, if you guys are there, just see if you notice. And I didn't see anything there yesterday and it had rained, over the weekend. So I didn't notice anything of, like there's a spot in the floor, but keep an eye on that spot.
All right, we can do that.
Okay. All right.
Okay, Chris, on other matters for
Other
you.
matters. I got a call from a lady representing the new Walmart for Act 250 permits, asking what we needed. Her and I talked for a little while. I wasn't sure about permits, so I had her call Billy. But I guess things are in the works, so that's very good.
Okay, good. There is a municipal service questionnaire that we are asked to fill out. We haven't seen any plans, so it's premature for us to comment, but I'm glad she's been in touch. That's very good.
Yes. So
They're going to ask us if we can provide fire protection or if it's going to
Fire and police.
but from his point, fire, and if that will adversely affect our ability.
right.
That's your cue to, if you need any specialized equipment for their new building, to let them know.
Yeah.
Well, but we don't know until we actually see what their plans are,
I
what they're
know.
gonna, so,
The big box.
yeah,
And them.
Big square box.
it's a big
What you could
something.
tell her is that they could forego the permit process and let them build the darn thing.
I know.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
But
Just keep in mind how useful Act 250 was when it came to the Cortina.
Oh,
So
yeah,
perhaps
right.
it's not
But
such a terrible thing.
My only concern is that we're building the same thing. Why do we need to jump through the same hoops?
Because it isn't quite the same thing. Yeah,
We disagree.
I know. Okay,
Last thing.
anything else?
One last thing. I'm not sure who the fire committee is this year, but I'd like to have a meeting if we could sometime next week or the week after or something.
All righty. Yes, we're just reconstituting the committees this evening. And yes, we can do a fire committee meeting pretty soon.
Whatever.
Okay.
All I have.
You have stuff.
I have a couple things. Yep. That's all I
All
got
right.
tonight.
And if I remember, you're usually good for a meeting most afternoons after what, 3:30?
Yeah, 3:30 or 4 is good.
Okay, good to know. Thank you. Anything else for our town fire chief? All right, thank you, Chris. All right, Kari Clark, town clerk and treasurer.
Good evening.
Hi, Kari.
Hello. Well, let's see. I don't have a lot of reminders at this time during the year. It's just those people that have dogs, make sure that you come in and register your dogs before April 1st. If it's after April 1st, there's just a small fee to pay. The state portion of our fee for the town did increase starting in January. So it increased by $2. So dogs that are fixed are $11 and dogs that are intact are $15. So just be mindful of that. And that's pretty much all I have for a while. I'll probably have more next time that we meet and we'll talk about, taxes and all of that. I don't know if you wanted to recap our meeting from yesterday or if that was informal. Totally up to you.
Yeah, no, that was the personnel committee and the finance committee, which is Matt and I met with Kari. God, was it yesterday?
It
Seems
was.
I did do minutes, Kari, and I asked Bill to get a copy to you, but so it was basically two things. One is we had received a proposal from Teresa Mealy, who had been assisting us on the rewrite of the personnel manual, and she had like 6 more months work of proposed work. And so Matt and I and Kari just went through it and said, do we really need this? That was our question. And we got it down to this. We asked Bill to reach out to Teresa and get the final cleaned up draft, which we had approved, but the one without all of the comments in the margin. So Bill is getting that from her and it will be on our desk. So that will be complete. The second thing was a revised timesheet that Kari worked quite a bit with Teresa on this, but had not seen the finished version. So we're asking Bill to reach out to Teresa and get that timesheet. So we will have a standardized way for all of our town employees to submit their pay request to the town. And also so Kari can track all of the other things like comp time and vacation time and all of those things. And then Kari was identified 3 things that she wanted assistance on, not necessarily from Teresa, and we suggested, and Kari agreed that she would first reach out to the Vermont League of Cities and Towns to see what they have. First is, what does Kari as town clerk need to keep and maintain in a town employee's file? That's one. The second thing is, what kind of orientation or onboarding process should there be for each new employee? And what documents should they sign and be presented with? And then the third thing is, what process should we use to have to file workers' compensation claims? It's been done in various ways, but it really should be standardized because Kari usually ends up dealing with some of it. And department heads have had a hand in it, and Bill sometimes has had a hand in it. So in all 3 instances, Kari's going to reach out to the League of Cities and Towns to see what they have that might be useful before we go to, back to anyone else to do a deep dive into these things. So, and then Kari's going to let us know what she comes up with, if anything. And if we need to go elsewhere, we can, but right now we're going to turn to the league and see what they have. And then number 4, under the personnel committee, this was preliminary. Kari just said that she's been looking into the possibility of having the payroll services contracted to an outside contractor. And this contractor also handles some of the HR components that Kari is often asked to try and address, but she's not an HR expert. This is very preliminary. We haven't built it into any budget, and it's looking down the road, but I was glad that she started to at least explore this and what the costs would be and what the savings to the town, or at least in time, would be. So that was the personnel committee. And on the finance committee, we talked some about the public safety building, as I mentioned to Joe. The binder that Kari keeps on the invoices and the approvals is right here, and I invited him to take a look at it. And we talked about the punch list that's being prepared. Matt was suggested we take a look at what our auditor had put as things we could work to improve in our town. As part of the audit process, every audit contains certain things that we could do better. So we need to take a look at that. The things that I think there were several that Matt brought up, but the ones that I picked up with were a formal accounting manual, a disaster recovery plan, and a fraud risk assessment. And we'll ask Bill, who's probably just reading this for the first time, if he will go to the league again and see if they have templates for any of these things, and we can get started on those. And then Kari reminded us, and I've tried to remind department heads and people who are on committees, please check with your departments and see how they are doing with expenditures as we near the end of the 3rd quarter, because we need to start planning for the end of the fiscal year with some of the tidying up things that we usually do. So did that capture what yep, Matt's got us something.
This is from you, I assume, originally.
Yes.
Thank you for typing that up.
You're welcome.
Now, Bill, you have a copy of this?
I do.
Yep.
All right, a couple of quick things.
Yep.
One is, well, there's just a typo on Kari's name in the first paragraph, which is easy fix.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Second
that's fine.
paragraph, Teresa's business is HR acquired.
Oh.
Qualified. And I would suggest, based on our discussion, and which Mary accurately summarized, that we remove that sentence that says we feel it's not necessary to continue to contract with HR acquired. It's more like we pared down the list. So we still have some things that we'll be consulting with Teresa on.
Okay. So we'll just take out that sentence. All right.
They just won't be.
We're not going to sign a contract at this point.
She's not a permanent consultant for the anybody's HR question. Is we're going to bring the issues to her through the personnel committee.
Okay, good. Thank you. And Kari, any changes or corrections that you can, or additions, things that I missed that you wanted to make sure we covered?
No, as Matt said, that was very accurate in exactly it was a great summary of what we discussed. To follow up on the VLCT, like some to-dos that I have on my list, started researching that today. I think they might have more. I just did kind of a quick look at what they had offered on their website, but I'd rather talk to someone. So tomorrow I'll get on the phone and see what they have that I can't see on the website. So we'll start there. But no, you got that accurate. That was all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So thanks. There's no action required by any of the select board members. We just wanted to let you know what was going on. Oh,
it's for Kari. So Kari, while we were in this meeting, Mr. Trump has issued a decree that states are going to be required or have to require proof of citizenship to vote in federal elections.
Really?
And it's been a while since I registered to vote. And I don't remember what what the current process is for that. I'm guessing that's something that's covered in the oath. Don't know if that's going to satisfy him, but I'm wondering what are we doing now for that? I mean,
Are you like asking and is he wanting to know if the person that's signing up to vote is the actual person, like ID and stuff? Is that what he's asking for?
no, it's worse than that because I haven't read the details, but I think the problem is if you come in, if you just have a driver's license, I don't think it says if you're a citizen. So you'd have to go back to like your birth certificate or something, I guess.
Holy cow.
I don't know. So I guess what I'm wondering, and maybe you'll have a while before the next federal election to read up on this, or probably it'll be litigated, but I'm wondering, does this mean this is going to be a major work project for you because every single voter is going to basically have to re-register, or is this already covered for the most part in some fashion? In the
Goodness.
registration process that I forgot about.
Oh, well, that's something that I definitely will have to look into. Currently, in Vermont, all they need to do to register to show that they have residency in our town is provide their picture ID. And if they don't have that social security number or a piece of mail type, there's like a list of things that they can bring in. But if it's more or less like citizenship, that might be a little bit more intense. I'm not certain. And I'm
Yes, it will be.
oh God.
So I think you've got like a year and a, no, two.
Sure.
Yeah, you got a couple of years before there's another federal election. So
Yeah. Oh boy.
yeah,
Wow.
Secretary of State may offer some guidance once they get a chance to read what Matt just read.
They probably will. They usually are pretty good at sending things down to us in like, here's what we think you should do. So let's hope they do that. That sounds like a nightmare. Oh my goodness. But I see why he's doing certain things. But whatever. I don't know. Before I don't want to forget, before I sign off for the night, there is a liquor license there. It's for Hannaford.
Yes.
I don't know if the police are available, but they've had that in there for about 2 weeks. I'm sure that they're looking for approval of some sort.
Better approve that. That's where I get my stuff.
Yeah.
That's where I got mine too. So just
Move to
saying.
approve.
This is the business entity, interestingly, is Martin's Foods of South Burlington LLC.
Throwback.
Yeah.
And this is a second-class liquor license. I wonder if that's for the standalone store inside Hannaford's.
Yeah.
No, that's a state. That's the state.
Oh, they would do it anyway, so they wouldn't go
Right,
through
this
us.
is for them
Okay.
to sell beer and wine on the shelf.
Okay, well, we certainly want to make sure this is taken care of tonight. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a motion to approve?
I made it.
I seconded it.
Matt seconded it.
Yeah.
Way ahead of you.
You were gonna do it before you read that.
I know, really. Okay, so motion's been made to approve the Hannaford, AKA Martin's Foods of South Burlington, second-class liquor license. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Approved. Thank you for that reminder.
No problem. I think they're the last ones, honestly,
Okay.
in the list. We don't have very many in the town, so I think that was the last one.
Okay.
And that is
Somebody-
really all I have for tonight.
Okay, any questions for Kari or any other tidbits of information you want to share with her like Matt did?
Gary, is Chris still there available or is he?
He is. I'm
disappeared?
using his phone. If you want to talk to him, I can give it back to him.
I just want to know if the door opener issue, the antenna range or the door opener has been corrected
Oh, okay.
for the fire trucks.
Yes, the doors facing McKinley Avenue, they all got done. We're waiting for them to come back to do the pickup in the 2 police doors. But
Okay.
the 4
Right, 'cause
front
that-
doors
that-
are done.
Okay, it's on the list here, so I wanted to, I'm updating this when we send it to Ed, what's been done and what still needs to be done. Thank you.
Okay, yep.
Okay, we're down to Mike Delehanty. No, Mike. Bill Sweet, unless we had Barbara join or Marcia or no. Okay, so we're,
Other stuff.
yeah.
Alright, let's see how
Whatever
fast we
happened to those
fly through
color
this packet.
Try. We'll try. What's that?
So whatever happened to those color coded lists?
Well, there wasn't a lot that was
That's all I
broadly
got.
applicable. So, but I think I have a new way to color code it. So we'll try that next time it comes up. Hello everybody. We're doing all right. We got a few things to go through. On your desk is a letter from the town of Mendon to V-Trans. There is one in your packet, which is not the same as the one they signed at their meeting, which is on your desk. So he just sent this to us today, I think,
Yes.
yesterday or today.
Yeah, I saw that.
So Fred sent this to us. So the copy on your desk, which is dated March 24th, is the one Mendon sent. There is
What's the one that's in the green folder?
the one that's in the green folder is the one that is from us to send out, because they changed some of the language. Originally they were very similar. They changed some things in there. So the copy that you have in your packet, which is number 6 in your packet,
That's what I was.
is based upon the original information they sent to us as a draft. So,
Which one are we
So
being
relying on
asked to
this.
sign?
well, theirs is the one they sent. Theirs is the
Theirs is
one.
done and
Okay.
done.
Yeah, there's
This
the one they
on the
sent.
desk
So they
sent.
originally they were a lot closer, but they did change things, which is fine. Ours is, I don't think there's anything we need to change in ours. But this came from Ethan at the Regional Planning Commission. He helped put a lot of this together. And so this is the updated one that he gave to us.
So I still object to the 35 miles per hour for the Rutland town portion of it. If they want to do 35 up in their part, that's fine. But to me, 35 is way too slow for coming up that hill. I agree.
So it says either 35 or 40.
We're not asking for 35. We're saying either 35 or
I know, but to me, I mean, I get your point, but I can't see asking for something that I think is I'd want to have.
Well, we're asking for the engineering study to see the feasibility of either of those two speed limits. So
driving
that isn't,
35 up there the other day.
that isn't necessarily that we're asking for 35 or 40. We're asking for the engineering to be done. What's your pleasure?
They're pretty consistent, the same if we leave it in, if we take it out. I understand the ups and downs of whether 35 is too slow for that section, but there are times when, you know, with the traffic and the businesses there.
I mean, ultimately, if they say, okay, we'll do a study, it's up to them what they set it at. Right. But
No.
I want to encourage them to set
At 35.
Yeah. So, but I mean, if 40 is safe, then 35 is going to be safe unless there's a safety issue with it going too slow. But
Yeah. Which is, in my opinion, going too slow does cause us.
yeah, well, it comes back to my
Irritated
point.
people to do stupid things.
The point I was making last time about Arizona is they had a 75 mile an hour speed limit on the highway, and that's pretty much how fast people went because it was actually appropriate for the speed. If you set it too low, people just ignore it, and you're gonna have them. They go 55, and that's 35.
Must be they drive different out west though.
Oh, I mean,
They do.
we're talking about
Because there's a section of Interstate 76 in Pennsylvania that's 75. And if you drive 75, you want to be in the slow lane.
Yep.
You know, so
I don't know.
it's the mentality of the operator.
It was just the day I was there, but it wasn't as much. People weren't going 90 very much, and they'd be going 79, but they were,
Yeah.
so.
I mean, I guess we can send it and see what they said.
And it's not, if they determine that 35 is too slow, they'll tell us I think the Mendon portion should be 35 to be comparable with the rest of Route 4, because that is mentioned in here that that section of Mendon is the only place from New York to New Hampshire where the speed limit is to a designated village area is 45. And that's from there, but anyway. I'd be okay with sending it as is. They're gonna make the final
A
decision.
motion?
I'll make it a motion. We sign the letter and send as is, please.
Motion's made. Is there a second?
I'll second it for discussion.
Okay, motion's made and seconded.
My hope is they would come back with whatever findings they have and allow the towns to have more input on it. But
If we were to elaborate, say 35 or 40, it would be safe for various sections.
Well, they may have the same argument you two have.
Maybe then it's more open and we're not saying it needs to be the same all the way up through, but maybe part of it should be 40 and part of it should be 35.
Yeah.
And the state may very well look at that road
Maybe starting at
and
like
say,
Best Western or something. Well, I guess that's.
Well,
town
they may-
line, yeah.
It's
They may
a
say
very
town line.
long, yeah.
it should be 35 and that may be their decision. We are asking whether 35 or 40 would be safe. Their comment would be, Matt and Kurt, 35 is too slow in that section and could cause more difficulties, where we're seeing 40 would be okay.
so
That would be how I think they would interpret this, because we're not saying we would like it 35. We're saying would 35 or 40 be safe or
Well, if I were reading this, I would look at this and go, well, you'd like 35, but you'd accept 40.
Mhm.
And for our section, you're talking Home Depot to Best Western. And I don't see driving 35.
I think Mendon wants the 35. I don't think they're gonna get it.
Okay, but
I mean,
so-
we could take the 35 out and be okay with it.
Yeah.
If
If we just left our section at 40.
That's what I'm
Or
saying.
we could go with Matt's suggestion, which I was sort of thinking anyway, which is a combination. What did you say again, to either 35 or 40?
Depending on the section of road.
Yeah,
I'd be fine with that.
40, yeah, 40 in the town of Rutland and 35 in the town of Mendon.
Then if they could say, well, we're not clear on what you want, then there'll be a follow-up question. What
Okay,
exactly
so-
are you?
Yeah.
if we could do one of these where if we agree on the language tonight and we approve it, we can have Bill redraft it and leave it in here and we can stop by
I
and
guess
sign it.
I guess I would make that as a motion to amend.
amend the motion,
Okay.
amend our motion,
Okay,
he seconded
Yeah,
it.
I'll second the amendment.
okay, so what I have is to determine if either 35 or 40 would be a safe and appropriate speed limit depending upon the section of road. Is that?
Yeah.
Okay,
Sure.
That kind of supports Mendon's
Yeah.
wantings. and
Yeah.
our-
okay. So we've got the amended motion now. All in favor of the amended language, please say aye.
I-
Aye, okay, motion carries. So I'll,
That will not take very long to
okay,
change, so I could do that tonight if you'd like to, and we
yeah,
can
okay.
get it on its way.
Well, it's
Do
right
it tonight.
here.
It would be easy.
Wrap this up quick.
If we had another executive session, you could rewrite a whole thing.
That's right, I could. I did talk with him. We're all set.
Yeah.
No more issues.
Perfect.
So,
Okay, good.
yeah, we're fine. The next thing, so the next new item in your packet, is the Public Works Mutual Aid Agreement for the year, which is number 2 in the packet. It is, the people are unchanged from last year, which is myself and Dave. There is an addition of some equipment that we've noted on there. But other than that, it's just for their reference. It's the very last page. It's the on-road dump trucks and is now 4, and the plow trucks are now 5 total.
So is this all we're willing to let them use?
That is what they have listed as what they want for resources. So, it's large equipment. They don't list like the
Chainsaws
chipper.
and body.
Yeah, they
No,
don't.
but Oh, the loader.
Yep.
Okay.
That's there.
All right.
Uh,
What's your pleasure,
Move
folks?
to approve and we'll authorize the chair to sign.
Okay.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded to approve. Any other questions?
Get out in there that Mike Rowe's willing to mow their grass.
Yes.
I'm gonna
Okay.
call him when there's.
All in favor of the original motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Sharon? Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Anyone opposed? Okay.
That one's easy.
That's a good plan.
Save the policy. We'll save the policies till the end.
Just do.
We'll do some of the easy ones. Number 5, the packet, is our 2025 annual MS4 report. Well, there's nothing really filled in because there's nothing to fill in. There's things they are attaching, reporting they're attaching to this, but the systems and locations, there's nothing to fill in there. So it just needs your signature that you are agreeing with this, and Andres and I are good. And all we need.
Is this, the lady that we visited with about, do we have supporting documentation?
It's separate from that.
Yeah, but does this help in any way?
It kind of. Andre sent me several things. I've got to formulate it as a kind of a line by line response to her last request.
Yeah.
So she is particular, which is appropriate. But this does go along with it.
Okay, so we don't have the documents. We don't have the tracking table. How do we know that they actually have been?
It gets all attached to it. It's a very substantial. They're 2 very substantial spreadsheets, and they're not conducive for printing. So they attach them to
So we're
the
doing
state.
it blind. We're approving this blind.
Yes. I've seen. I've talked to Andres about it. Like it's
Move to approve.
It's
and
what it's
authorize
supposed to
the
be. It's
chair to sign.
She'll be on the hook. I'll second it. Now we can discuss the crap on it.
Motion's been made and seconded.
If you'd like to see all the things, you can. It's a lot of information. It's all the different MS4 systems we have in town and their progress and the work they're doing on it. It's very good. There's a lot of detail, but there's no way to print this. It's going to be.
Bottom line is Andres
Yes.
produced it because we told him to.
Yeah, yeah. So
I mean,
which,
we've pretty much had blind faith in his direction
Yeah, we
since
have.
we hired him.
I know.
Kept the state off our back. So
And,
good
and,
enough.
and we're getting what they want done, and everybody seems to smile and happy. And I tell you, money.
so we're not the MS4 operator certification. Is that us, or do I sign under?
You sign under. You sign at the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, Andres signs.
Principal
under-
Executive Officer.
Yes.
I certify under penalty of law. Thank you, folks.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Okay. They were all prepared under my direction or supervision. Based upon my inquiry of person or persons who manage the system, which is Bill, to the best of my knowledge and belief, true, accurate, and complete. Are these true, accurate, and complete, Bill?
They are
These
very.
documents
They are
that
very
I
accurate.
haven't seen?
Yes.
To the best of your knowledge, though.
They are.
That's all you need to know.
And I'm aware that there are significant penalties for submitting false information, including the possibility of fine and imprisonment.
That's why we have the LCT. It got
That's
our.
why the line to you, the
All
best
right.
of your knowledge.
All in favor of having me sign away my life and liberty, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.
Somehow imprisonment for an MS4 annual report seems a little
Yeah.
extreme, but
That's why we have
See-
El Salvador.
The less you know, the better off you are when you sign it. It's to the best of your knowledge.
Bunch of lawyers in here, you know?
Uh,
All right. It's been nice knowing
number
you.
number 7 in your packet is a letter from a town resident who is interested in being appointed as a cemetery commissioner to the open elected seat.
Yeah, so I started with the request that we hold off on making appointments until the circle is out, so people have a chance to see in case somebody else might be interested. Is that agreeable to folks?
When's that coming out this week?
Uh,
Next week?
deadline was last week, so I think maybe either next week or the week after, but it should be before our next select board meeting.
So does that say get your letter
There
of
was
interest
no
in within a
deadline.
certain?
No, there was no deadline.
So this is from Donna. She's the one that takes care of the cemetery next to here.
Yeah.
She does the cleaning of the stones and all that stuff. So she's,
Yeah,
she's very
she
good.
sounds great. I
We
mean,
could
and
give
this is,
it a couple weeks.
She's also
out.
my mother-in-law, so she is great. So it's
okay. Well, so you can convey to her that this is nothing personal. We just
Yeah, no,
want
it's-
people to
it's-
know that the
It's
opening
fine.
is there.
That's okay. All right. And let's see. Next thing is the policy. So number 3 in the packet, there's a few here. And I did include, so first one is the purchasing policy, and I put
Oh, yeah.
we talked about changing the purchasing thresholds.
Yes.
That was first part. So those are the ones in red on the front page are the purchasing thresholds. And then letter K, I added as the we had talked about the negotiated pricing.
Oh, that state contracts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or similar pre-negotiated pricing programs. In other words, if it's the Massachusetts pricing group.
yeah.
like we
Dave
did
has
with
Dave
the-
has one, and there's a
Dave
couple
I
of
think
those.
there's one through the, something Dave was talking to us
Dave
about.
has one for
Like
Sourcewell.
Marcia equipment.
Sourcewell.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Sourcewell,
there are a few that we use, and they are wonderful.
Yeah.
So yes.
were
So
we
first
gonna-
question is the numbers.
Were we gonna talk about changing the numbers in red?
Yeah, what do you think?
Well,
Items of 10, what were we thinking that it was, the
So-
5,000? Amount 5,000 more would go out to bid, but we were thinking to up in that, right?
I think at least double it.
well, so what you have to think is if we're putting out an RFP, we got to get people to properly put out an RFP, you have to advertise it and then receive your bids and open those bids and honor them.
Mhm.
We've been trying to do that and nobody will bid, or we get one bid and then we're going out and soliciting bids
Yeah.
anyway, which technically is not how that process is supposed to go. You're not supposed to be out soliciting bids from vendors. So we really got to come up with a number and it's going to be a pretty high number as to what we actually put an RFP out for and try to get bids back on.
So and that's it, because I think you mentioned something like this before, and it was like below a certain number, people won't even bother because there's so much work involved.
Right.
Is it 25,000?
I think we're,
I mean, I can tell you in my business, I won't touch a bid unless it's 30. You know, and that's,
Just because there's so much work that goes into.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, if we doubled it to 10,000.
you know, and I don't even know if we get an RFP back for that. I mean, I'm trying to think of things that what are some things we've done RFPs on lately? I mean, obviously big paving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big,
Really,
big
like
stuff.
that's it. I mean, we really haven't done anything that's,
Well, the
There-
work we wanted to do around this building were all smaller ones and we solicited bids.
yeah.
Yeah.
And we still struck out for a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah. I
You
mean,
know, the concrete thing went on for years.
For years, because we couldn't get anybody to do that. I mean, it was just, you know, the bid process is.
I just
it-
wonder if
there's-
other,
And
other.
the other part I can tell you as a business side, if I'm putting out an RFP with a bid, I'm adding 20% right off the top.
Why?
Why? Because I'm guaranteeing that price and I'm covering all that. Where I'm going up against other competitors that are going to take the time to do those bids, and then that I can beat those competitors out so I have bigger profit margins. Where if the town came to me
Okay.
and said, hey, come look at this project, give us a price, I would give them a better deal. At least that's how I run
See,
my
I would
business.
think that if you were being competitive, you would not put 20% on and hoping that you'd get the lower bid.
Yeah, but if I know who I'm bidding against, I know I can bid higher than what I'd actually.
Yeah. You know, I was thinking when we put out to bid the awnings on the center Rutland station that we're missing over those doors. We got one bid,
Mhm.
you know, and
Yeah.
personally, the town got taken to the cleaners over that. And I don't know, that was a few years ago. So sometimes I don't know what a good number in there. I know, I don't even know if it's electrical work and you put that out to bid and you think it's gonna be, but we have to have some idea what the job's gonna cost.
Mhm.
So electrical work around this building, you know, the last job was about 7,000. And we went with Stubbins because they're the preferred vendor and, but you did that. I think, I don't know if you called around or how we came up with that price.
It, look, but just to get a cost for electrical work was calling people, because there's a lot of them don't even respond to requests for bids. Like they just,
Yeah,
because they're-
you know, it's too small a project to put
right.
a day into to come up with numbers and chase down vendors and
Yeah.
try to figure it
It's-
out and then try to anticipate how long the town's gonna take to
Yeah.
okay this, and then we're, you know, you're trying to figure inflation in the whole work. So I don't know how to do that.
I mean, the whole idea is to kind of protect the town by getting really solid, good numbers. But if people don't bid, then
You know, I think some of the last bigger projects, we've ended up calling, you know, try to solicit people to get pricing.
when we went for the service road down the other end,
Yeah.
that was that was not even, it was a request for, wasn't request for
It was proposals for,
proposals?
yeah,
Yeah, request for services.
yeah, you know, and we were talking, what, that was 100 grand, right?
Or no, that was an RFQ, right?
There,
Request for
yes.
qualifications.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's
And the
right.
town had to go through that whole
Whole,
That's
yes,
right.
stupid process we did on the
That-
north end.
right, yeah.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
was the first time we got to look at that. That was a little
Okay.
different.
Yeah.
We picked pre-select, you know.
But that was that even mandated by the town or did the state mandate that for?
No, I think we chose that
Did-
direction.
did the
for some
town choose
reason at
that?
time.
Was Susan Schreibman helping us? Was she the one who said?
Yeah, I think
suggested
so,
that?
because I
Service
think that
road?
was what our
Yeah,
choices
service
were.
road, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
When we,
like the JP sidewalk. I
Yeah.
mean, that's how we had to do it.
Right.
Yes.
But
That's
we,
what
but
the
we
state-
chose, we chose the state process, which is
Better. Not great.
okay. Yeah, I mean, it's,
not
but,
great.
but even that process was, we went with pre-selected, pre-qualified
Mhm.
firms,
that the state would accept.
that the state would already, would accept, right? So that, even that was
Oh, right.
different
Conditional.
process,
that was
right?
different.
You know, some of the biggest purchases this town makes are fire trucks, police cars, and highway.
Yeah.
Those are actually, and
Fuel oil.
okay, so the fuel oil is one, we asked for. And so, but we actually,
We did ask for bids for
Yeah.
the year, and we did get them. But we only got them from we posted it
Yeah.
like out there, and we only got them from the people that we sent them to.
bidding for fuel oil, to me, is a little different than bidding to dig up and repave a parking lot. You know, fuel oil is kind of it's a different dynamic and different variables.
Commodity.
You know, fuel oil, people that are in that business can kind of project, you know, but I was thinking, like, when we put out bids for that culvert on Town Line Road, it's a couple of $100,000 project out there. Those projects you would put, but like when we're purchasing equipment lately, we have gone to letter K.
But even,
Yeah.
but
that's
even the Town Line Road one,
eliminated.
we hired Robert Clark, and Robert Clark did the bidding process for us. We didn't even do the bidding
And I
process.
think that's
We
the
hired him to
same
do.
for
They
because of-
designed it, he did the work, and they did the
the
bidding.
Right.
water line down on Ranbury Road.
Yeah, we did that.
Yes.
But I think
But I think
that
Robert
was
Clark
even
did that
through,
too.
that
He
was
did
through
do
Otter
that.
Creek.
Yeah.
Otter Creek
Yeah,
put that
so,
out.
so,
Okay.
so
So a lot of times our professional services that we hire to design a project, so we'll use the sewer line. When that comes to fruition, when what we're going to do, Otter Creek Engineering is going to do that.
Yeah.
They will put everything together, they will post it, they will have it, and then we will look at what comes in and we will pick a
But
contract.
we will be, it will be going out to bid.
Right,
Right,
but we
okay.
won't, but it's a significant $200,000-$400,000 project.
Why don't we just change
I'm
this
trying to
to,
think of something small that we would, well, Dave just
I know.
put out the bid for sewer work, right?
For
Cleaning
sewer
the
cleaning, yeah.
sewers,
Sewer
yeah,
cleaning.
yeah.
And I don't know if that's for doing the clean, because he also hired A1 to do the culverts.
But I mean, even that,
It's hard to do.
there's only 3-4 companies around there gonna do it.
I
So
know.
you're gonna just reach out and ask for pricing from them,
You know, how
which
much-
is a regular purchase.
Matt had an idea.
so why don't we change it to 30 or more? I don't even
That's
care.
what 30 seems like.
30, and then if that doesn't work, we'll change it again.
30 seems like a decent number.
Being that it's a
This is
policy.
for major
it is
purchases.
Yeah, we can
you
change
it
this.
at every meeting.
We can make you retype this whenever we want.
Hand in hand with this
So-
is the preferred
Could I
vendor
add
list.
something here?
Yeah,
Yeah,
This is Dave. So I'm coming at this from a totally different angle, and I understand that, you know, where you guys are with protecting the town and so on and so forth, but I'm not gonna suggest a number because I really don't know what that number should be. But you have, as far as I'm concerned, you have department heads that you entrust to run your departments. If the department head has a major purchase in the neighborhood of, pick a number, it should probably come to you guys anyway. But, you know, if you trust the department head to run your department, then you have to trust the department head to run the department. Like that, there has to be a number that you know, can't go over. I get all that, but the department head really in these days and times really needs some leeway to do something. I mean, like I had BP here today to do the sewers down on the south end. We put it out to bid last year and they were high because of their travel from Burlington. A1 said they won't touch that sewer again. I had to do what I had to do. They sent 2 trucks, 2 guys. It's going to be over $5,000. But it's like the option that I had. It's the option that I have. You know, I'm not throwing money away. I'm being conservative. And if a department head does something left of center, then she needs to have a conversation with the select board as to why, what, where, when, and how. But, you know, today's pricing is really crazy, outrageous, and, you know, $5,000 is just, it really handcuffs me personally. Not only about anybody else, but.
Keep in mind, there's an emergency purchases provision in here as well, which also applies to that situation, I think.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Well, and really, if we up this limit, what you would have done with BP would be considered a regular purchase, which you would have done the right thing. You put out a bid last year, or they say a regular purchase, you're soliciting bids or quotes. So you reach out to these companies, and then you got A1 back, which was your lowest price, and they said no more. So you went with your next one, which would be BP, and that would be all kosher at that point.
So which
It'd be
brings
considered
up
a regular purchase.
regular purchase, what's the low end for regular purchase? If it's less than 30,000,
I think we gotta move that up to at least 5.
okay?
At least.
so yeah, so this for regular purchases, it's
you know,
competitive
Dave,
quotes, which
Mm-hmm.
Although
it's not so hard to.
Yeah, you get on the phone, you call.
yeah.
the way you do it.
And the other part is a lot of the incidental purchases we're doing as a town, we're doing through a preferred vendor anyway.
Right. And
but
so,
you know, to Dave's point, you know, these guys go out, if they need to buy something, it's gonna be $3,000-$4,000. They're gonna go check they're gonna try to get the best
sure.
price because he's trying to maintain his budget
Mhm.
and not overspend it. And it would be the same with almost all the department heads. They're pretty much already geared to that. We
Yeah.
need to get multiple things. I think where we get into the formal bid process is those bigger numbers. you know, like if you want an electrician to do something, we got this, we call 3 or 4 people. We've got this project. We think it's going to be about, you know, come and give us a price.
Mhm.
The one
Well,
thing
I
about, I
think
like
we
about
just did
calling
this.
people, huh?
I mean, I think we just did this. If we 30 for major purchases, then you got to go out to bid. Regular purchases between 5 and 30, you got to call up a few people and get some quotes. And then incidental purchases, anything under $5,000. I think we're giving the department heads the leeway that Dave is pointing to.
Yep.
While still reflecting the reality of buying stuff out there.
Yeah.
You know, and
I mean,
I've spent every day talking with the department heads about stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
they are also very aware of their budgets,
Yeah.
and they're not looking to be like, oh, I can go spend a ton of money. It's like they're still understand that they have a budget to hit, and it just makes the process a little bit easier. And I think these are kind of like what I was thinking, you know, talking with some of them too, Dave and some of the other ones like these are kind of the numbers that were like made sense, because like if Dave's got to repair a truck,
Yeah.
like, and it's more than $5,000, you're not going to, that's not going to go out to bid. It's
No.
going to go to Earl's. It's
Go
going to
to
get
whoever
fixed.
does
It's
it.
like, it's just, so, you know,
But if it goes up higher than 30,000, we start thinking, do we want to repair the thing or buy a new
right.
truck?
And that's absolutely right. That's absolutely a different
That's
story.
Drive it off a cliff somewhere.
I love the LCD.
So
Absolutely.
those are pretty good suggestions. I have a couple of smaller ones.
And by
Yeah.
by upping these amounts, I hope that we get, because there's over the past 2-3 years, there's been some instances where we've maybe made some people some preferred vendors that really
That's
shouldn't have
fair.
been made a preferred vendor, because that was the easy way to do it.
That's right.
And hopefully by upping these numbers, we can avoid that and be in more compliance of the actual policy.
Yeah. I always thought preferred vendors were more for specialized equipment, that there were only 1 or 2 people that nationwide or New England wide that we could go to. But so under generally where we should be advertising, I think it should be as broad as possible. I know we've got at least 1 week in a newspaper of general circulation, but it should also be on our town website. It should be on town social media. So I would add those. And who was it? Is it the League of Cities and Towns that has a list? Somebody maintains a list of,
VLCT has a bid list.
yeah.
They don't maintain a list. We can submit to the
Okay,
list.
then let's add the League of Cities and Towns because people look there.
And what's the other one that I look
Well,
up on?
Front Porch Forum, but that's more smaller stuff.
There's I look there almost every day for bids.
Okay.
There's a
read it.
state bid portal too. Something
VermontBusinessRegistry.com. I'm not sure who operates that, but that's where I look.
Okay.
Mary, are you making those notes? on
So
yours?
I've got the town website,
Okay.
town social media,
Okay.
League of Cities and Towns. And then we could say other and such other.
Vermont Business Assistance Network.
If we say it, then we have to do it all of the time, but we could say such as. You would?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean,
VermontBusinessRegistry.com.
the state puts everything on there.
So
general services.
I've tried to get on there and register, and I cannot get a response back from them. So I've tried to register us on there, and I can't get it. So I will keep trying, but
I wonder if Robert
Robert
Clark knows how to, because Otter Creek puts all their stuff on there.
yeah,
too.
I've tried to get onto that process, but
Okay.
I have yet to be able to.
And that was the only other thing I have down under D, the preferred vendor thing. The town administrator will maintain a list of preferred vendors, which should be updated at least annually, or updated or
That's fine.
reviewed.
Just so everyone knows, the list does live on the bulletin board here. So when we get through it tonight, a new one will appear
Right.
within a reasonable amount of time.
Okay. So those are the only things that I had for changes, and I like the 30 and the 5.
Yep.
So,
Anything?
we need a motion?
Like
Sure.
I almost want to say the school district's like 14,000 for a incidental purchase, what they would consider an incidental purchase. where they don't have to go out to bid. That may have been a few years ago, but that's something I remember from when I was plowing the parking lot up there. But just reference, not saying we change anything, just something that was floating around in my head.
So I guess I will move that we amend the policy as yeah, stated.
Or as discussed.
Yeah. Second.
Motion's made and seconded to approve as stated and amended by various persons. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, it's unanimous and we've amended it. I'm gonna stick this in.
In the green folder, please.
Yeah.
Yep,
So you
perfect. And
have
I'll work on that.
notes.
Yep.
Okay, very
I'll have
good.
a nice copy to sign next week or 2 weeks. I also did put in there just a printout from this, an example of the state's purchasing.
Oh, that's what
Uh,
that thing was.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's just an example of what we talked about tires the last time. So
Yes.
here's like Bridgestone and Goodyear, and there's like all these agreements and all these locations. So it lists what it is, you know, the brand, the contact person for the company, where you can go to get it. Like, so this is what we see. The list is huge, but this is just an example of what we see.
So our department heads know how to access it.
Yeah, it's just, you can just go online, you just search
Go online
Vermont State
and find out
contracts, and
whatever
it's,
it is.
yeah, it's a publicly
So
accessible.
the meaning of this is
The,
the state has negotiated, I
Preferred
think, is a
vendor
good
list.
price.
Do we wanna-
Yes.
we
So
gotta
like
go
Pete's
through
Tire
that?
Oh,
Barn.
yeah.
Dave goes to Pete's Tire Barn for tires. They are on the list. That's the best price we're going to get. So he could just goes there. That's why we added that.
But if you have multiple tire vendors on the list, are they all doing the same?
all
Or
They're
do they have to
regional.
go-
It's all the same price.
If
It's
it's a
all-
Goodyear
So-
tire, all Goodyear tire dealers will honor that state bid, if I understand that right.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter where you
It
buy
doesn't
it.
matter where you go.
I caused some problems.
But these are not in the same places. So that's why they're sometimes around the state. So like we happen to have Ray Bean and Pete's Tire Barn in the area. So, but not everybody's
Yeah.
fortunate to have, you know, two, but
That's
But
many tire
for like
vendors as we-
the first one on the list, like Will and Engineering, there is no store. You have to order it. So it's some of them are specialized, but this is just an example of what we see, and the list is enormous.
It's like if Dave goes to buy culvert pipes, you can buy it at Ferguson Waterworks, FW Webb's, LaValley's, any place that sells culverts, and you get the same price.
okay.
Bid.
So
State bid.
maybe your copies, did you have attached to that the depreciation account?
Yes, that is
history
part of
thing?
it. Yep.
I don't want it as part of it.
Okay.
It doesn't relate.
Okay.
I do like this list very much, and
Okay.
it needs to go somewhere permanent, like in our policy book.
So the reason it was attached
Uh-huh.
was in the definitions in the purchasing policy is depreciation funds.
Mhm.
And it says may be used as detailed in the voter approved language for the corresponding department.
Okay.
So it's included to have the language
Okay,
that
you
was
can,
used.
if you want to have it as attachment, fine, but it should be entirely separate somewhere else so we can
Sure.
find it.
Sure.
Because it's really good stuff. And
Yep.
I won't remember to look on the depreciation policy or the purchasing policy for it.
Okay.
So you got to cater to me on this.
No problem.
Because I'm going to
That's-
jail anyway. so.
That's an easy one. We can do that. No problem.
Every
Um,
Tuesday night, we'll hold our meeting.
Yeah, torture me.
They
yeah.
have Zoom in jail. It's okay.
Three
And
hops in a
then
cot.
to Joey's question about the purchasing policy or the preferred vendors.
Yep.
We do have the list.
Yep.
So just Noble Hardware is now Avashon.
Yeah.
Hardware.
And
so
the
that-
prices went sky high.
Huh?
Did they?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's different.
I don't know if anything's changed. I don't know.
yeah, it has.
I have an account there, so I just
Yeah,
don't know.
if you have a charge account, the pricing's the same.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, they kept it the same?
If you have a charge account, I don't know what.
We do have one. but-
Okay, then
We-
yeah.
Yeah.
The town there, Dave, I think detail on, but he said it, we had to go back and reapply
Yeah, we
to get it again.
Capital
So
One trade credit.
yes, it's through Capital One. Yeah.
If you
Um,
have a,
So
but that's changed. Jim Manley, has retired,
he still does work for us.
still doing work
Yeah.
for it.
For me and Mike, he does. Yeah. We call him and
Oh,
Oh, it
good. So
doesn't-
next time I need something at the
Wonderful.
house, I'm gonna tell you to call him and tell him.
Okay.
it's for the
He's
town.
great.
Cause he was our plumber and took care of our furnace.
I'll check with Mike again, but Jim does the turn on and off for the pool and stuff and Dewey Field, so he still does some work for us, so.
Okay.
All right, so where
Graphic
is-
Edge, I don't believe exists anymore. I think they're
Oh, yeah, they
they're
don't.
gone. So they can come off the list. Vermont Digital does not exist anymore.
Okay.
So they can come off the list.
Boy, they don't exist anymore.
Nope.
Wow, when did that shut down?
Last year, the owners just decided they were done. And
I know Peter Welch was,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, no, they just decided they were done and stopped. So, yep.
Have we been using Voidy Electric for anything lately?
Not recently, no.
We have 2 electricians preferred.
Yeah, I mean Stubbins knows
Yeah.
this mess over here
Okay.
now.
Boydie had started to do some work for us
Yeah.
and then he stopped. So, but then that's why we
bought 1 or 2 generators through him, right? This one.
This one, it's been a
And the-
while.
And the one at the fire station.
Yeah, I think so.
One that Dave's got now.
Yep.
Okay.
So this is the list, but the Graphic Edge, Vermont Digital, they're going to come off because they no longer exist. So
Okay.
Do we
So
Oh,
do we
it's
still use the
Abishai
brown
Field
exactly
Service.
are we saying on a preferred vendor list? Is there a was there a definition?
Yeah,
Yes,
in
there
the
is.
purchasing policy, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't remember using that brownfield service in a while.
it's a vendor approved by the select board to provide certain goods and services for the town of Rutland.
Okay, so I guess
And we should
if it's
consider,
not, to Mary's point,
Yeah.
though, if it's not a specialized item, like
Mhm.
Stubbins has done a bunch of work, apparently does very
Mhm.
good work, that's all good. And you say there's a trust element,
Mhm.
but at
Yeah.
the same time, you also have a lot of vendors, so I mean, should you be periodically, checking competitive pricing on that kind of thing?
And
if
Sometimes
you
we
look
do.
under the definition of preferred vendor, it also includes approval by us should consider the general availability of the good or services, the quality, cost of the goods or services, the ability, capacity, and skill of the vendor demonstrated under prior contracts with the town of Rutland. So it's kind of like all of that. We've got a good track record with them. It's a little bit scarce or maybe not, but so there's more to it.
But the idea here is procedurally that if you're using one, you don't have to follow these other procedures, or how do they fit into the,
Yeah, let me see.
Yeah, you don't have to.
Put it out.
because you don't want them, like, all that may be true, but at the same time, you don't want them just going, oh, well, I'm the only guy
It
on the
says
list, so I
the
can charge you what.
Select
I can
board,
add it, you know?
the select board may approve a preferred vendor for regular or incidental purchases. So the smaller two.
So you're limited.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So in this case,
Do
well, so it's up to
Up to
30,000.
30. Up to 30 now.
New York Fire.
we did, and I don't remember why we did that, but they were added for
Was-
a reason.
That the
Wasn't that the
company?
ticks?
Oh, might have been.
That is the ticks.
Yep.
Yeah, the thermal imaging cameras.
Okay. Because
Oh.
they were the only ones.
They were the only ones that could get the right model or the
What we
ones
wanted,
we
because that's
wanted
the
or
same
something.
reason we have Reynolds and Son, is they were our SCBA suppliers for the
Yeah.
MSAs. And they were the only one in the state, and you either deal with them or you deal with an out-of-state company. And when they were in Rutland, it used to be really good.
What's CAI?
Our mapping, our Lister Maps, property map company.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the point of having any of the hardware stores on here? I mean,
It's now that
just so you don't
now
have to
that we
drive
can
around all, 3 or 4 of them to check the price on whatever thing you're gonna buy.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter now because it's incidental purchases up to 5,000.
Yeah,
I mean, you're not gonna buy anything
it
at
was to
Nobles.
allow some flexibility in the purchasing,
I
but
could
things
find
like
something.
Lavalley's, Home Depot and Tractor Supply probably could come off and it wouldn't really have any, it would now with the changes in those wouldn't really have any impact.
So do you want to take them off?
Yeah.
I mean,
Tractor-
I guess
Tractor
because if
Supplies.
you're buying a big enough,
Nothing really.
Uh-huh.
I mean,
Nothing.
I
No,
don't think there's any, they're not to meet some of the requirements of the preferred vendor, those places don't offer anything we can't get somewhere else. That's
They're not
kind of
specialized.
there's no,
Yeah.
Home
Not anymore,
Depot,
yeah.
Tractor Supply, most of the hardware stores probably handle all the same stuff. If the town has a charge account at these places, they're gonna get probably okay, so that, depending on what Dave needs or what Chris needs is depending, or where your proximity to where you're going.
But now if it's over $5,000, you're gonna call another place. So it
You-
doesn't.
you're- Right, so you're not
Yeah, I
really.
think at this point, now that I
hardware-
could see a lot of this happen because it was set at $1,000 and it was very easy to spend $1,000 somewhere. So all these preferred vendors started popping up because
So we have things like A&J Auto Parts, Allied Auto Parts.
Those probably don't even need to be on there anymore.
Okay,
Okay.
AJ comes off. Ace Noble Hardware Store, does that come off?
yep,
Yeah, I would.
Okay, Allied Auto Parts comes off.
yep.
Uh,
I think that brownfield
I
services
don't know
we
what that
should look
is.
we should look into aim. That probably had something to do with the landfill.
I'm not sure.
No
I
idea.
don't think so, because was it Stantec that we went
Stantec
with?
now.
That does the monitoring.
Engineering.
But I wonder
Something
if
I've heard of in a couple of years, so
let's just scratch it.
That
Yeah.
when the
If it
town
comes
was-
back, it
when there
comes
was that
back.
big
We can
thing
discuss
about
it.
Okay, it's
We
off.
can add to the list anytime, just
We
like.
can.
we did.
Yeah, exactly.
Who's Ed Eaton?
He takes
The
care
pump
of the
service guy
pump
for
service.
We'll leave him on.
Leave him on.
He's important.
Yeah.
Now Graphic Edge is
For now.
off.
Gone.
Okay.
Yep.
Home Depot comes off for the same reasoning that
Yep.
Abisha, okay. Jim Manley stays on.
Yep.
Johnson Energy,
Honestly, Jim Manley doesn't even really need to be on there. Cause I mean, the work he's
Well,
doing is not more than $5,000.
Yeah. So for that, yes, I agree with that. Like his work is incidental at this point.
Yeah.
When he was actively doing plumbing,
So
and then it was different.
you know why he's on the list? Because he was the guy for Flory Heights.
Yes.
If we did
Oh.
any water meter work in Flory Heights, it was him.
okay.
Because there were
I
some
do
people,
kind of
there were some
remember.
residents that only would let him in their house.
Okay.
So
He is now.
that's okay.
He's not retired.
Johnson Energy
So
should
do we
say.
take him off? I'm
Yeah, he
sorry.
can come off.
Okay.
He can come
Why
off.
is, why is Johnson Energy on?
They're a preferred vendor for fuel,
Fuel
but
oil.
we rebid it.
But they do,
Did that.
they have been doing all of the boiler and servicing.
Oh, the service.
That's what I think they've been on
Yep.
there for.
Okay.
Yeah.
They have consistently always taken care of our.
Should we
boilers.
specify then? Cause we're gonna solicit bids on the fuel, right?
Well, we
Yeah, we
bid it
do.
We can still do that.
sporadically.
Yeah.
I mean, we went 5-6 years before we bid it this last time. I
About the
thought.
fuel, no, we do it
No,
every
we,
year.
we do it every year.
Every year.
Yeah.
We talk about, oh, yeah, we
We
do.
do.
Talk about it, but last year was the year we've actually put out formal
Well,
requests.
last year, right, but we have gotten.
We went
I know
a
the
long
last-
time.
The
They-
last 3
They
years,
send
we've
us.
had multiple pricing.
One of them sent it to us and then we said, oh, we should
Irving's.
ask for others.
Irving
Yeah.
sent it to us.
And,
Yeah.
and it comes in, and we keep going back to Johnson's, because number one, they're the only ones that'll cap their price, and they don't have hardly any restrictions. Some of those, if you remember, there's like, well, if you buy this many gallons.
Yeah.
If you go above that, it's gonna be, and it's like.
Right.
Gimmick, yeah.
So do
anyway.
I put Johnson Energy service? Cause isn't that what we're saying? Or,
Just leave it.
I think we.
I don't
Just
know,
leave
because
it?
I'll tell you what, if we're not buying all our fuel oil and we switch, they're probably gonna tell you,
yeah,
whoever's selling you fuel oil can take care of your boilers.
They've been very good to us.
what's
Didn't we
KSA?
use them for putting in the new boiler at the,
Yeah.
the
Oh,
highway
yes, at
garage?
the highway garage,
When I first
yes.
came here, that just kind of
Yep.
bypassed that whole thing.
Absolutely, we did. KSA Built is the vendor that installed the mountain biking trails at Northwood Park. They were
And-
added to the list
Because-
for that purpose.
Yes.
That's one of those skating
Yeah.
around the
Yeah,
purchasing
so we take
policy
them off
We,
things.
they,
now,
they come
right?
off the list,
Yeah,
yes.
because now we may be able to get that done, and if it's
Uh,
more than
they're built.
30 grand,
The
somebody else.
Trails are
is gonna
built, so
That's right.
yeah, that's fine.
That's right.
Yep.
Langrock Sperry's are
Yep.
town.
They're the
He
only
control.
can stay
one
on for
touch
now.
the town.
So La Valley,
The valleys can go.
Yeah,
Valley's comes off.
Yeah.
Main oxygen.
I think that can come off too,
that can come off.
because you've got Air Gas and Main Oxy, the only two suppliers of welding and
MBF.
architects.
Yeah, but
I don't know, we put them on there for a reason.
We've been using them for.
The
Smaller
design
stuff
of the
like
building.
downstairs,
but
okay.
When you get into these smaller projects.
Yeah.
We've just given them to them because we didn't want to get into that bidding.
So-
thing.
Yeah,
We-
The other part is, so we have Edmund Kesselring, NBF, and Otter Creek on here. Professional services are exempt from the bid process. So such services include legal counsel, insurance, engineering and architectural services, and consulting services. So
All of them could come off.
they could come off the list because they're already exempt from having to bid them out anyway.
Why would
Well,
they-
let me ask you this. Do we feel better that we go through a process of seeing who we use every year, even though they're exempt from?
Yes.
I mean,
think
maybe
we-
that's
I mean,
not a bad
some of this
idea.
work, so some of the work that Dave has done, he has asked other engineering firms to do,
Mhm.
and they either don't want to, don't have time. and
Yes.
We always seem to end up without it.
We have actually actively asked other engineering firms, do you want to do some of this work? And they're like, I don't have time. Either they don't have time or they're not interested. So we're like, okay, like, yeah.
Some of that is you build a relationship
Yeah.
with these
Yeah.
engineers,
It's fine.
and
Yeah.
you know what.
So they can stay on. There's no problem. There's no
Yeah.
harm in leaving them on the list, but that's,
So
But we should.
Edmund
kinda-
Kessel Ring stays on?
we
MBF
made
stays
we
on?
made Edmund Kesselring a preferred vendor to get around the purchasing policy, so we could hire him for the public safety building.
And we've used them from other
Except we
things.
didn't need to do so.
I know, but JP said we had to, so we did.
Well,
That's the history on that. I remember it vividly.
All right.
So I mean,
and you know, sometimes I don't know. Well, I guess, I don't know. Some of this stuff, I don't know how you put it out to bid.
I know.
well, that's why they're
Yeah.
it pulls it out of the bid process is because you can't, like, I mean, it's
Oh.
Yeah, I
just,
mean, I don't know how you get lawyers to bid on a job.
I mean, really, we haven't used.
We
them.
did for the bond council. Remember that?
That's
We did.
but that was a.
That was very specific. That's right.
Legal,
Yeah.
what do you call
That was
it?
a
Legal.
short-term action.
Yeah.
One job they had to do. I mean,
And I think that's the way we work. We look at what we need sometimes and these are the people that do this every day. They know what they're doing. So
Mhm.
that's why we put them on here. But the legal services and stuff are exempt. So we're okay anyway.
So I'm down to, we leave Otter Creek Engineering, Pratico's Landscaping. I think we use, don't we, Sharon, for Mike Rowe up at
all the rec
Do-
fence.
do
all of
all
the
the
rec
fencing.
stuff,
Yeah.
yeah.
They've done some good work.
Bit
Yeah.
of the fencing.
Procter Gas. They're very good about
Yes.
donating
And now
gas.
they supply 2 buildings for us. So
Okay.
yeah,
Reynolds and Sons.
they should stay.
They do all the MSA.
And I'm wondering why Brookfield isn't on here.
It's a good question. Maybe it was supposed to be Brookfield service.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That's-
Maybe.
that-
Oh,
Brownfield.
Brownfield. Oh,
This,
okay.
this is an old list. This
Yeah.
list has just been regenerated. So this could be
Yeah, maybe
Brookfield
that's
service.
what
Yep,
that
that's probably
Okay.
We'll make that Brookfield service.
We'll make it Brookfield.
All right, good.
That's what it was.
Yeah, I think it was.
It was an autocorrect error.
Yeah.
Autocorrect.
See,
That's
see,
a
you do
typo.
need me,
Oh, what
so I
was it?
should not go to
Unlocked.
jail.
Brookfield service instead of
Or-
Brownfield service.
Oh,
This is
okay.
Brookfield.
Okay.
So I will, I'll update this list for
Okay,
everybody too.
Stalker radar, I know the police
Yep.
department uses. Stantec we use for
Yep.
monitoring. Stubbins Electric.
Yep.
Leave Tractor Supply comes off, right?
Mafia.
United
Ag and Turf. Is that a micro
That's
thing
the John
too?
Deere dealer. Yeah, we want to leave them.
Oh.
Yeah, you don't really need to though.
Don't need to.
Anything more
Yeah, I
than
guess.
$5,000, you go buy on the state bid
Yeah.
spec.
Yeah.
And
So
if you're buying
United
John
Ag and-
Deere parts,
They can go.
they're the only ones.
Yeah.
So get rid of them?
Yeah, they're special. I guess they're a specialized dealer, aren't they?
And then,
They've got it. Whether,
They are the John Deere dealer.
right.
It's not like you can go to Yandow's now, you know,
God,
or,
yeah.
you know, anything
I've heard-
else.
Yeah.
They're like, that is John Deere now.
Yep.
Whether you go to Middlebury, you go to Rutland, it's still
Or the
United.
other
all
several
the same people,
stores
yeah.
they have
and
scheduled.
do we take Voidy off?
Yes.
Okay.
And Vermont
All
Digital.
right.
Yep.
So
Okay.
that's, I'm gonna stick this in the green folder
Yep.
just in case.
That's fine. Yep.
Well, we marked
No
the
problem.
crap out of that.
All right, we did.
I knew that was going to be a big deal.
I don't know.
The
Purchasing policy.
next one on the next one down there on the list is the public records inspection, copying and transmission policy.
Oh,
So
What number is that one?
3B. It looks like that. I know there was a lot of stuff in this packet.
Uh,
So there were 3 sections that
Oh, right.
needed decisions, and I added to the back of it, the state of Vermont and town of Rutland fee schedule, and I did include, the reproduction of fire and police reports.
Right. Because fire and police have been doing their own
Yes.
thing, $42 per police report. And
It's the second to last page. It's
Yep.
kind of halfway down the middle there.
the town clerk's fees are pretty much set by statute.
Yeah.
And we just wanted, when people come in and ask for copies of a bunch of public documents, we needed something to be able to capture the cost to the town. So it's not just, well, I mean, like $42 for the, it doesn't cost that much to actually photocopy the thing, but it's digging them out
It's
and
the
the
time to retrieve it,
generating,
yes.
generating the report itself. So, all right. Where we have to make decisions looks like the first one's on page 3.
Yes.
A request for a copy in a format other than those mentioned is non-standard.
What, do you have any idea what this would encompass if it's not paper or electronic? What
So, this example is the custodian will or will not provide a copy of a public record in non-standard format. Example, conversion of a paper public record to electronic format. So, the standard is paper.
Yeah.
That's the standard. So it's
the modern era is it almost easier for you to scan a piece of paper and email it to somebody.
It is not. It's not the burden of the process. It's just a decision of do you want to have a physical copy sent to a person or is an electronic copy?
I would like to put it in your discretion as to what's the most efficient thing to do.
Typically electronic.
Can we say that?
The one thing about
So if
physically handing somebody a piece of paper, you know they got what they requested.
yes. So
Yeah.
under here,
Electronically leave some margin for error.
it says the custodian will make a copy of the public record in the following standard format. For anything in paper form, we'll make a paper copy.
Mhm.
For anything maintained in electronic form, we'll make either a paper printout or electronic copy. And the non-standard is flipping is basically taking paper and making it electronic for this purpose. It's not a burden. It's not burdensome. It's just, will we do it?
So here, I guess this is to Joe's point. If somebody's made a public records request
Mhm.
and you're trying to observe the timelines and be responsive,
Electronic is more efficient.
regardless of how you send it, there has to be some record of the fact that you complied.
Mhm.
So if you send an email, there's an email. Well, I don't know if there's a presumption in the law that somebody received it, or you can
But
ask for a
there is for
receipt.
mail.
People ignore, but
Yeah, but there is presumption for mail.
For
so-
email.
For regular mail, there is a
regular
presumption for
mail.
mail.
So, but then, okay, so, but if you mail it, then do you keep some kind of record that says I mailed this on this day? Or you do it as certified?
And I didn't
The only
get
do
it
is
back.
prove it as certified, which, that's a different thing. So
Which is a whole, by the way, I mean, that is a nightmare as well. We're dealing with this
Oh,
with the
God,
court
yes.
rule committees because that whole system's kind of breaking down too. So
it's not as fast and efficient as it used to be. I personally say the non-standard converting it from paper to digital is not a burden.
So
Like
we'll
the
say-
technology we possess now is
That's for you in your office. What about Kari or the listers or the police?
so the police, I can't speak. I would imagine they have the similar way to scan things. The copiers that we have, we scan it through and it becomes digital in a matter of
Yeah,
seconds.
I-
And everybody,
Scanner.
the listers have 4 different scan folders just for themselves. So every person has their own anyway.
Mhm.
So it is not a difficult process to do that. It did at one point it was,
When
yes.
that technology wasn't state of the art, wasn't,
Right.
the accepted.
It wasn't standard anymore. So
Standard,
it is
yeah.
now, yes.
But now it is.
So I would say we will provide it in a non-standard format.
We will.
Yeah.
So
Converting from
custodian
paper,
will.
paper to public, yes, or paper to electronic, yes.
Sounds good to me.
Yes.
Okay.
was this the one that used to have a thing on it that said it only applied to the clerk's office, or was that something else?
The clerk is assumed to be the primary custodian and usually the primary point of contact. But then the custodian becomes the person that has charge or custody of a public record. So it does filter down to the person that actually has possession of it.
Okay. So the next yellow highlighted, creating a public record that doesn't exist. Whoa.
Yeah,
wait.
that's what I just said to
You
myself.
pay me enough money, I'll give you
So,
something, you
want a
know?
death certificate for somebody that
Well-
doesn't exist?
Yeah.
How much you willing to pay?
And the guidance doesn't really specify
Yeah.
what this what they're talking about.
So I'm thinking if
I would
something
say
that we
no.
wouldn't normally, something that happens that you wouldn't normally have a record of, but I can't, I just,
Somebody tapes minutes of a meeting and hasn't converted it to minutes. And they want a,
Typed out.
yeah, typed out
Set
whatever.
of minutes,
Is that what they mean?
maybe. Let's
There's
just
a
circle will.
process that covers
Let's just
that.
go with will not.
Will not. I mean, will not.
It's will not.
we're not
Okay,
going to.
I'm very good with will not.
Provide a record that we don't have.
I'm very
I
good with
think
will
that's
not.
something to do
Under
with
will
budget
nots.
records.
Yep, I'm good with that. Moving on.
So the transmission of the public records. So this is, we can take it from paper to make it digital and provide it, like if they want to come in with like a storage, like a flash drive,
Flash drive, okay.
This is transmission. This is now, are we going to email them and consider that? Are we going to email them the public record, which there is ways, we can send it and then print the copy that it was sent and attach it to the request. So, I think that
What
is,
if they say
will.
they didn't get it?
well, so there are some systems that can do return receipts, but that's limited. It's not gonna be a wide ranging thing.
I
So
guess the alternative is, right, they have to come in again and
Yes.
sign a thing.
they'd have to
So
come
maybe-
and pick it up.
Yeah, that addresses the question I was raising before. about
Right.
proof. So
So this one is a,
It does
Will?
put the burden on the requester to come in and pick up the copy and physically have
we
it.
Absolutely.
should do that,
Yes.
because I don't know how else you would,
I'm fine with that. And then there can be a signature that says, received, and they sign it, and
So we will not transmit.
we will not.
yes,
Okay.
I'm good with that.
although so if we're converting something to an electronic record, though, does that mean
Hey,
handing them a
You
thumb
get
drive?
another job, Mary.
Yes. Well, but they would.
Paragraph.
It's not. It would be up.
Cheaper than
It would be not up to us. It would be. They're not that expensive. But it would not be up to us. It would not be up to us to assume that we would provide the drive. We would.
Everything actually always ends up back at the board.
I do sort of remember being involved. It wasn't quite a denial. It was who is this person and why is she asking for this record? And it was a police department thing. And I said, she's an attorney, give it to her. Because she was actually being helpful on our side. But so I do remember it being involved in an indirect way. So it does happen.
Okay. So those are the three, and so I can
Okay.
update that, and that'll get a little shorter.
Very good.
The fee schedule
Do
is.
we want to vote on it now or wait until we see what it looks like?
We'll
Should
just
look the
wait.
same, only not in yellow.
Probably.
It will be a lot shorter.
Vote to approve?
Might as well just wait and sign it all in
Okay.
one fell swoop, I guess.
Okay. That's
We've
good.
done a lot of voting tonight. Let's
Okay.
push it out.
The next one's easy. The meeting room policy
Oh, yeah.
updated to include the public safety building.
You guys are building committee. Did you? But, and we're fire.
No, you took me off fire.
I did. Okay, so you're off the hook on this one.
Has anybody asked Chris about it?
Yeah, that's true.
The language is the same. So the only problem with the public safety building is access. It's just somebody's got to go there somebody's got to be there when they're there.
And it gets scheduled through Chris. That was
The
true
fire-
for Center Rutland
Yes,
as well.
the stations get scheduled through Chris.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's if they want to use that meeting room or the emergency management room.
Yes.
The only thing I don't like about that is to have access to the apparatus bay at that station.
Yes, they do.
And I would not include that building.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, Joey.
It's a small enough space. I don't know if it's really.
I don't think it is
Beneficial,
either.
you know?
Yeah.
Center Rutland Station, it was specifically designed so that the public could have access to that meeting room, the training room, the bathrooms, and not get into the apparatus bay or the office, but the public safety building isn't that designed that way.
That's the only one up that end of town.
Yeah, well, if they're driving because we're a circle, they're gonna have to come with, I mean, we're offering this building to folks. There's the inconvenience of driving from that side of town over here, but that building is not, that apparatus bay and the offices are not secure.
Is there a bathroom off the
Yeah,
emergency
it's just,
In the
just
foyer.
outside.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's in the foyer.
So-
Yeah.
Once, and the only access,
Not lock the door out to the,
No.
That would require no lock.
the door between the apparatus bay and the meeting room up there, it's not locked. Center is, I mean,
Should there be one though anyways? Because I mean, this has kind of come up. Once you get in that,
yeah,
I guess you have to get buzzed in that door, the outside door, right? But then once
no,
you're
you can
in,
go in the outside door to the
Oh.
foyer, into the police station.
That's the only public accessible door.
That's a
No,
public
no,
accessible
but
door.
You can't get from there into the meeting room.
No.
You can't, no,
somebody
not
has to
without
let you in.
not without a code.
So it's okay.
And you can't get into the police station right now without somebody coming and open the
With a
door
key.
for
Yeah,
you. Or they have to have their own access, which is okay, is good.
And really, if you're gonna have 8 people parking there,
That's
That's
all
the
the parking
other
you
spaces.
could
thing.
take all the.
And
Yeah,
that,
if you
and
get a
that
fire
really is
call.
the issue. That really is
I would not include the public safety building for a meeting.
They can go
Room's
fight over
like
center
a-
one.
the room's
They
like
can-
an eat-in kitchen.
once-
It's not
Yeah.
really that big of a.
If and when we'll have 2 places over here. Personally, I'd rather have the downstairs here open to the
Yeah, I
public for
know.
meetings
Yeah.
than the fire station.
yeah,
Because there's
And
way
maybe-
more parking here.
And maybe when
What-
that comes to completion, then that
Right.
becomes the
Yeah.
logical progression. Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
You know, then what we'll end up doing is the door that comes upstairs will be locked.
Yep.
Okay.
But-
All right, I'm on the fence on it, but it's,
I mean, we have
yeah,
the basement, we have center one,
we have Center Rutland.
and we still have the basement here. So there's 2 meeting spaces for the public, and really,
Does the school allow people to use
Yes.
outside?
They have the
Okay.
same, they have a similar,
policy.
Okay.
So, I mean,
So we take public safety building off.
yeah.
I have a question. We're telling them to pay $25 for the employee.
Yep.
Is that money getting passed through to that employee or?
yes, that was the intent. Yes.
All right.
Have we used that part? It's usually somebody who
No.
it just opens up.
If it's come up, if it's come up outside of hours, there's usually been like Andy has been a representative of the group or
Yeah.
however, so there's been someone that's taken
Yeah.
responsibility that has taken responsibility for it. Like you've opened it for, like it's fine.
Rutland
Like,
Town Democrats, I've let
Yeah,
in here.
so-
Yeah,
if the person says, yeah, I'm part of the group, I want to be able to use it, then that's been done. So
okay,
it has not come up yet, but it's there because if
it
it's
does
outside,
come up,
if it's outside hours,
Right.
then yes,
Okay.
somebody's got to be here. So,
it's always good to have a. clerk.
okay. So good with this, take out the public safety building.
Right.
Yes.
okay.
Okay.
So does that just put us back to what it was before? Or did we change something else?
I don't think
I
anything
think
else
you're right.
changed.
Yeah, maybe let her ride.
I'll check, but I don't, I'll have to go back and look at my other draft. I don't
Alright.
think,
Just let her ride.
there's. Oh, I did add, like, there's some technology to attend remote meetings because we do now have that
Oh,
for some of the meetings. But so there's some small things, but yeah, what we can hold off on that too. That's not a big deal. All right. Last couple things. The last thing in your packet, the only thing left in there would be the budget status sheets. That's just the updated
Yep.
current one. On your desk, the last thing there is the private fire hydrant ordinance. There's a copy that does need to be signed. That's in the green folder if you want to use that one.
So we amended it March 11th, 2025. Did we vote on it
Yes.
then? Okay.
Yeah, I
So-
think we said
Oh,
that
it's
Kurt has
just-
to dig out all those.
That starts, yes,
We had
Kristen.
to- it had to be-
That starts the clock. So it will go
Oh,
into effect
right.
May 10th
Okay.
if nothing changes.
Right.
I am going to send a proactive letter to the owners, letting them know
this is changed and what the few changes are so that they're aware of it. So it's
Okay.
nothing big, but just letting them know.
All
So
right, so we're just signing.
yes. And you'll have copies on your desk. If you leave them there, I'll 3-hole punch them for you and put them in your binders if you leave them for me. And
Coming your way.
the we talked about the informational sign for the public safety building. It's an 8-page application document. The first page is the application, the 7 pages is how to fill it out, which is just crazy. So I am working my way through it. It's not complicated, but there's a lot of just little details and stuff. So they want exact mile markers and exact. So I'm working my way through it. There is an application for it. It doesn't appear there's a charge for it. I don't think there is,
I'm
but
sorry, what is this for?
the informational sign for Route 7 for the public safety
God.
building. We talked about getting that put up. So there is a whole application to do that. So I'm working on it.
Do we have it say public safety building, or should we just have it
No,
say police
It
department?
should say police and fire,
Rutland.
because people won't know what
Just-
public safety is.
Just police. They don't really need to find the fire station.
If their car's on fire, they might want to.
It's preferable
We'll
you don't
find
park it
out.
out front. It's
Yeah.
preferable you don't park it out
Park in front of the fire
front.
station,
Car's
please.
on fire, park it somewhere else.
Yeah.
My sister got my old car, right? I don't know what she did, but it caught fire on her way home from the grocery store. She didn't have a fire extinguisher, milk and orange juice,
Okay.
and it
Works.
went out.
Sometimes you're better off just letting it go.
Depending on if your insurance is paid.
I
Because
know.
who wants a half burnt car?
It smelled weird.
Yeah. That is everything I have.
Wow, okay. So we did that. I gave you the printout from the state of Vermont on the DCF memo that came out today, so you've
Yep.
got that. I mentioned the meetup, and there's where you need to for the select boards in the area. I do encourage you to participate because it was pretty useful, so that's information for you.
It would be easier if that wasn't a night after a board meeting.
Yeah, I know. Kari gave us the one pager. Is that, did you circulate that?
I didn't see that.
I don't, okay, maybe that was just us. But it basically says we've got $141,000
Yeah.
left. Personnel committee we did, okay. Board committee assignments. Public works is the same, so's recreation, so's building and technology, so's police, so's scholarship, so's finance and personnel. Town event celebration. Fire is changed because Kurt's coming over. And I'm gonna stay on with him. And then intermunicipal, it has my name only. That's only because we don't know what intermunicipal issue may arise or which town with. And then we would need to put in somebody who knows, like Joey's helping with Mendon. And the speed thing. If it's a homeless shelter thing, I'd pull Sharon in because she knows this stuff. If it's, a contract legal stuff, I'd probably pull in Matt. If it's fire, building, whatever, I'd probably pull in Kurt. So that's why it's only one name there. And then down under public safety building, I did want to put in Joe as the clerk of the works. Yes, it's a full select board, but I did want to recognize that he's also the clerk of the works there. I left the Veterans Memorial. I don't know what to do about that. They kind of fell dormant.
They talk amongst themselves.
Do they? Okay,
They
good.
sometimes include me on an email, but they usually talk among themselves.
Okay.
That's
And
always
as
good.
per usual, if you don't like the committee assignments, find somebody to switch with, and that's perfectly okay with me. Okay. I think that's all I had. Anybody have anything else? It was a long meeting, but we got a lot of
We've been
stuff
through
done.
all the letters, Mary.
Which one might not have been?
Trying to go through.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we've done it all.
I think we did.
No more paperwork sitting here in front of me, so.
Did you want us to keep the fire hydrant ordinance?
Yeah, if you just
Okay.
leave that on your desks, I'll
Okay, you'll
if
punch
you're
it.
fine with that, I'll punch that and
There you
it'll
go.
go in your binder. Yep.
All right.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
All right.